All right, are we on?
Yes.
All right. So welcome, guys. Welcome back to DCL PrimeTime. Yet another week, yet another set of games, a lot of more stories, a lot of more color. We've got our analysts, Vamsi, Viju, Satya online as well. So without much further ado, we will get on with the games. Satya, if you want to share the list of games, so we can go in that order.
Parthiv, if you don't mind, before we get going, can I just read the whatever comment somebody had sent it to us?
Oh, yes, definitely. Go ahead.
Okay, so this is from one of our viewers. We got this feedback. Hey, Viju, I wanted to let you know that I really enjoyed the show this week. That is, we are talking about last week's show. You guys rock. Chemistry is great between you guys. And the show is very interesting and informative. The fake girlfriend and link to Sterling Strikers was hilarious. I went and read up the whole story. Stunning. Please pass on my sincere appreciation. Please keep this off the record as my teammates don't want to admit we hear the show. Now, having said that, I really appreciate the feedback from the audience. I wanted to say that the chemistry, in fact, I was asked this question also as to whether we script the show. And the answer to that is no, nothing is scripted. None of us speak before the show. Everything happens live as you see it. Part of the chemistry is also because each of us knows what the other person is good at, and we let that person do their stuff. And we just, but to give you an example, last week, Vamsi kept pushing me, and he kept pushing me about whether I was willing to change my Sterling Strikers pick. And so if you really think about it, the bare illustration about, that I don't need to run faster than everybody else, I just need to outrun the meta, was all instantaneous, you see. So that's part of the charm of the show, is that everything which you saw is instantaneous. None of it is scripted. Each of us is just purely speaking our mind. Having said that, thank you for the feedback. I'll hand it over to Parthiv.
All right, that was good, great feedback. I would have loved to know who that person is, but I know I respect their anonymity as well. So yeah, keep sending these feedback. Keep sending us your comments. We'll definitely try to keep improving our show and keep entertaining you. So with that, let's go to the first game of the week. Last week, we're going in from the bottom up. So the first game is Canton 11 versus Detroit Badshah. Both the teams, I think, I think we all expected this to be a close game. It did eventually turn out to be a close game. I think primarily because of the opening partnership, or maybe the top order partnership, not the opening partnership between Adarsh and Shakil. That stole the show. Almost 100-run partnership, and from there, Canton 11, scored 130. I think the two things which I'd like to highlight here, one is obviously this big partnership there, and the inexperience that Detroit Badshah showed. They pretty much used like 9 bowlers in their innings, which basically summarizes their inexperience when you are trying so many different options in a particular game. And then in the batting, they never really looked in the game, folded for 60 odd. So a comfortable win for Canton 11. I expected Detroit Badshahs, based on their last week performance, to go much deeper. Vamsi, you want to add?
Yes, in the previous encounter which Canton 11 had with Indus Thunders, right? I was mentioning that I played with half of these team members. They are good players, but still they had to rely upon Javed Ahmed in that particular game, who actually played about 12-13 overs in that game, right? But coming to this game, I think Adarsh played one hell of an innings, opening, scoring the 51 runs, and then Shakil Ahmed supported him very well with this 25 runs. He didn't score any boundaries, but 25 of 43, 42 without any boundaries, still good. We see the rest of the batsmen didn't score much, but the extras, 19 extras, right? That's what propelled the score to 130. If not, there'll be probably around 120-ish, which Detroit Badshah chased down successfully in the previous game. But again, you're facing Canton 11, a well-established team, not Hawks, who is a new team. So in this game, I think the top 3 batsmen, 2 of them got 20s. However, the rest of the team did not just rise up to the occasion. And, that showed. They got all out for 68, which is probably half of what Canton 11 scored. And this game is face palm to all the analysts who picked Detroit Bacha, including me. But, Canton 11 just proved their worth in this particular game. And let's hope to see more such performances from Canton 11.
Yeah, Vamsi and Parthiv, let me tell you something. The Badshahs bamboozled us, all right? Our friend Santosh gave us such a great report of the Badshahs. Parthiv, I read that wonderful report and I fell in love with the Badshahs. And then I got hoodwinked. Parthiv, in the stock market too, let me tell you something. The blue chip companies are there, and then more often than not, they deliver solid results, okay? Yet many a time, myself included, all right, we get enamored by these crappy companies with some technology which is pie in the sky and some technology on the moon and things like that, and we go and invest in these companies, and the next thing we know, we lose our shirt. Only one of us had the common sense to pick Canton 11, and you know who that is, our friend Satya. He went with Javed. But sure enough, Adarsh, if you ask me, I've seen him bat when we played Canton 11 last year. I was very impressed with his batting ability. He's an excellent batsman. And Shakil is also an excellent player. These 2 guys single-handedly took Canton 11 to respectability. And if you ask me, these 2 guys, when they are on song, they can show all of DCL that as long as they are out in the middle, the chances of the opposition winning is very little. But I think none of us talked about Mohammad Ramzi. Mohammad Ramzi had figures of 5 overs, 1 maiden, 7 runs, 5 wickets. All I can say is, holy moly. That is figures that even Oni, the great Tamim Oni, would die for. That spell, if you ask me, torpedoed the Badshahs and made them into peons. Because Parthiv, let me tell you about an incident. You might have heard this somewhere along. But there was a boss, and the guy was he was the vice president of technology, and he was very upset. And so he called a big meeting. And when he called the meeting, the junior staff wondered why this meeting was being called, and all the head honchos were there. And then one of the guys said, maybe this is a meeting to decide when the next meeting will take place. Well, when the meeting took place, basically the VP looked at and said, we are having tremendous attrition rate. We are losing people left, right, and center. And so he then turned around and looked to the guy in charge of production, or the guy who does the software delivery, in charge of software development. He told him, all right, I'm giving you the green signal. Go and hire as many people as you want. But you have 25 days. And in 25 days, I need all this delivered. If you have the green signal to go and hire as many people as you want. And that guy gave a reply, Parthiv, which even today has me chuckling, because he turned around and said, sir, if you give me 1 wife and 9 months, I can deliver some outstanding results. But if you give me 9 wives and 1 month, I can do absolutely nothing. So let me tell you something. In this game, all I can say is, you know what? The Badshahs, they brought in a lot of new resources. Parthiv and Vamsi, do you remember last week I talked about the AAA boys? Yep, Ahmed Kazim and Abdullah and who was it? The guy Asher Khan. He was the toast, according to Santosh. Yep. And in this game, Asher Khan did not even bat. This is why I said we got hoodwinked. We got bamboozled. We were taken to the cleaners. These new recruits, all these new recruits which they brought in, none of them got the job done. The AAA boys, they got fired. And the new recruits could do nothing. And the Canton 11 guys took them to the cleaners. And so what I could say is, these guys couldn't do the job, which is they couldn't create a baby in 1 month. Because if they had won this game, I would have said that these new recruits have managed to get the job done. But obviously, they did not get the job done. And so these Badshahs, they played more like chaprasis than Badshahs. Let me tell you that. Okay. So at this point, Vamsi and Parthiv, if you ask me if I'm willing to trust these Badshahs anymore, last week they seemed to be the toast of the town. This week, they are at the bottom. All right. These guys have really shaken my confidence in them. They have got nothing done. My good friend Alishan Ibida, who is the skipper of this team, he needs to ask himself some questions now. Hey, why did all these three guys not play? Then maybe we need to do something better, because clearly if this is the product which you're going to put out there, very soon people are going to lose their faith in you and you're not going to go anywhere. So, yeah, Alishan himself is a great player. Actually, let me, if you guys like biryani, go and befriend Alishan, all right? I once tasted this, I don't know, several years ago. Alishan's wife makes an excellent biryani. She makes one of the best biryanis you can find. So next time you see Alishan, just tell him, hey, I would like to taste some biryani. I heard great this thing. But he's a nice guy, all right? But the production from his team is, I can't even talk about it. I just feel cheated. That's all I can say. But congrats to Javed. It was an outstanding performance by him. And Mohammad Ramzi, what a game he had, you see. So definitely give out a shout out to both those people.
Yeah, I wonder whether Detroit Badshahs have the same problem of what Congress has in India, the dynasty politics taking over. I see the 3 AAAs being replaced by the Ibadat brothers. So suddenly now the dynasty.
Actually, Parthiv, let me. Can you go back to that scorecard? That when you say Ibadat brothers, actually 2 of them might be brothers, because you see Shevar Ibadat. In fact, I sent a copy of the scorecard to my son. My son and Shevar is younger than my son. So I think he's 1 year younger than my son. They used to play cricket together. So in fact, I sent a copy of the scorecard to my son and said, do you recognize somebody in the scorecard? So immediately he recognized Shevar. But yeah, I mean, he's a youngster. He's probably 20, 21 or something like that. So
okay.
Yeah, but it is not the Ibadat brothers, but the uncle and the nephew were there.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, let's go to the next game of the week. The next game of the week is, I think, the one which I played is the Stingers versus the Strikers. It's the reunion of Jagan and the Strikers team. Played in really great spirit. But as the match was probably marred by a lot of umpiring, shoddy umpiring, I would say. I wouldn't want to name the umpires, but essentially, I myself felt that the umpiring was well below standards. And this is not the only game that weekend that had some shoddy umpiring. There were a few other games which were also reported. But all in all, I think Stingers, I felt, definitely have a few good players. Definitely Chelam, I felt was way down the list. I think he was wasted down the list. Jagan himself was looking good before. I think he got a rough one as well. I think, from our side, I think we weren't really challenged. I think we, bowled well, batted well, albeit I felt took longer than what we should have. We should have completed in much earlier than the 18th over. But clinical batting by Parag, he's our mainstay. He's our, he's been opening for us for quite a few seasons. We've been, playing with his position. He wants to kind of come down the order, so we've been playing up and down. But I think, based on this performance, I'm pretty much going to cement his place right up there. All in all, I think a good game for us after the KRCC defeat. Hopefully things go in line now as we come up against the bigger oppositions later on.
So, Parthiv, I have one question, right? I mean, we were talking about the bowling changes in the other teams, but in this game, your first bowler bowls 2 overs, gives only 4 runs, doesn't concede any extras, but still you get a 6th bowler.
Yep, and I think that was basically the match situation. So we wanted to give a couple of the bowlers their full quota. of overs, and also I think both Rohit and Vinod were bowling so well. I know Rohit did give 4 wides, but he's definitely an up and coming bowler. Even in the last game, if you've seen the scorecard, he's picked up 3 or 4 wickets. So they definitely wanted to give him a longer run, give him the full quota of overs. And then Deepak obviously is our our reliable bowler, so didn't want to like really challenge him in this game. He wasn't really challenged, so nothing more than just trying out the options.
The reason I ask is because it's very easy to comment from this side of the camera.
Yes,
But when you are on the field, it's the captain who takes the decisions. I wanted your line of thought on it. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Coming to this game, I thought this was a clinical win for strikers. It was a must-win game. We made that very clear. We put the pressure on Parthiv last week itself, saying that if he doesn't win this game, I think this season pretty much can be written off. And that is true. What I said was honestly true, because if you can't beat the Stingers, then you really have to wonder about where the season is heading. But looks like that motivation worked. I personally thought that Parag should be opening every game. I am glad that Parthiv answered the question even before I asked the question, because I had already written in my notes here that Parag should be opening every game, because when he goes back and looks at the KRCC game, he opened with Amit Patel, and very first ball, Amit Patel was back in the pavilion. And so the thing is that I don't think Amit Patel is the answer at the opening spot. I personally think that lower down, he can actually do some damage too. So between Amit Patel and Parag, I don't care what Parag says. Parag can think that he needs to go lower down, but if the team needs him up the order, which I think he's technically correct batsman, I've seen him bat, and he's a good batsman too. And he could have handled the Oni pace much better than Amit Patel can handle the Oni pace, or any other Tom, Dick and Harry can handle the Oni pace. So the thing is that I personally felt that that's where one trick was missed, at least in the going back to the KRCC game. I was happy to say, because this game I was actually going to give Parthiv the suggestion, since Parthiv and company are not in our pool, hey, you should be opening with Parag. Why is he being wasted down at 3 down or 4 down? In fact, that's the question I had, which I listed down, kind of a thing. But all in all, straightforward game. I think for Stingers, I don't think there was ever a question of if they were going to be able to beat strikers. I think especially if strikers came with all their bowlers. Also, coming back to your question, Vamsi, whether Deepak Patel, if you go back, Satya, and show me that bowling stats, yes, I agree that he bowled 2 overs and 4 runs. But if I'm the skipper, I'll be honest with you, I've seen Deepak Patel bowl, and I don't think he's a superior bowler than Parthiv Mehta. And not because Parthiv Mehta is on the show, because I've seen both Parthiv and Deepak. All right. In this game, yes, Deepak was 10 runs better than Parthiv in the 2 overs. But I mean, if you ask me which of these 2 bowlers, Vijay, you can have only one bowler, I'll take Parthiv Mehta any day. I mean, that's just being honest based on past evaluation. Now, in any one particular game, something can happen. And maybe this game he was bowling just lights out. But all in all, I think their bowling is pretty good. I mean, especially when that team concedes only 10 wides and keeps that extras to just 10 runs. And you go and look at a team like Glads, and we gave wides as though the river was flowing, So I thought it was a pretty good game, actually.
Yes, and Vijay, my comment was not specific to Parthiv, right? It was like, to understand the line of thought a captain has with when the game is going on. You have your strike bowler who's handed your first over, right? And he doesn't get to actually bowl another spell.
And again, Vamsi, I think this is Stingers. Deepak Patel is bowling the opening overs. Maybe they wanted to take it very cautiously. But I think if you went and bowled to one of the other teams, you probably might see that 2 overs go for 15 runs. You get my point? So again, I think it also, the opponent makes a big difference too, as to how much runs got conceded in those couple of overs.
Got it.
But yes, it was a good spell by Deepak for sure.
All right. I think perfect segue into the Gladiators versus Titans. I think this was probably the game that we were all looking forward to. I expected this to be, Detroit Titans to give at least a run for the money for Glads, although Glads were heavy favorites. Again, Glads won the toss, put up a huge score. It's probably a pattern, a story, which probably has been this season. Glads putting up a monumental score, and then kind of the team chasing never really comes in the game. In this case, the return of the AA Arjun comes back with a 50. I'm curious to see whether the retired hurt was the Ravichandran Ashwin retired hurt, or was he really hurt? Whether he wanted to go and finish up the 40-over game as well. But all in all, I think. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, yeah, he went for the 40 game. So at the end of the 12-over break, he went for the 40 game, and the rule book allows you to play, but the problem is that you have to field with 10 people. You see?
Yep.
So yeah, the Glads fielded with 10, and that is a significant advantage which you're giving up, because so many balls which are catchable, because you're having one fielder shot, and it's a huge ground, probably one of the biggest grounds in DCL. So that makes it even more difficult. So you're giving up a huge advantage there. But if you get a 50 from AAA, then yeah, it kind of compensates. But that's good. That's exactly what happened there.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was also guessing. I wouldn't imagine Arjun going retired, hurt, just basically on, getting hurt. Otherwise, that would have made news. But if you're looking at the scorecard, contributions from Udit as well, down the order, Suyog, those runs kept adding, and at the end of it, you have a score of 166. I was kind of disappointed with the Titans bowling. I think they gave away too many runs, especially Prakash. I've seen his bowling last year as well when he was part of the Dynamites team. He's pretty slick. And Sathish too. Sathish, as we all know, last year was probably the top wicket taker, or probably amongst the top 3 wicket takers. And seeing him go for 12 and over is quite surprising. Probably a bad day for Sathish. But and then going back to the batting, I don't think Detroit Titans had any chance after the score. Although Sathish and Abhishek tried to get as many runs as possible, but I guess it wasn't enough. And yes, definitely one thing I would like to call out is definitely the guy who we talked about last week, Shivam. He's definitely looking like the find of the season for Gladiators.
And partly coming to this game, right? I think Prakash bowled the first spell for 2 overs, got hit for 20 runs, especially the second over which he bowled, right? It was an expensive one, 15 runs. And, he's still a young bloke. I think, coming back from such an over in the same game, maybe he was not up for it. But on the other end, Sahesh Vasan did what he usually does, picked up a wicket in the first over. But then, the Glad's batting unit was way too strong. And we see the captain Sathish Gaba getting hit for 34 runs in 3 overs, an outing to forget for Sathish. But what I actually was disappointed with was Detroit Titans batting order. We again see Sathish Gaba coming at 5 down. When Glad's unit dismantled the opposition, in this case Titans, for 5 for 33, right? That's when Sathish Gaba comes. The game is almost already over, and what is that the captain can do at that particular point in time? I thought should have opened this game, and they missed a trick. Yep. And
yeah, definitely. I think that, as well as Vihar, I think I rate him very high in terms of batting skills, and seeing him come 10 is definitely alarm bells. I'm not sure as to what's going on in their camp, but the batting order looks to be definitely a lot of flux going on right now.
Mm-hmm. And one other point, right, is that in this particular game, not just the batting order, but after this game, what happens is Detroit Titans is now competing with dark horses to take that bottom spot. Both these teams have lost 3 out of 3. And
Vamsi
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Vamsi and Partha, I think when I look at this game, and I watched this game completely, so I think I'm pretty qualified to talk on this game. I thought AAA batted very well. Arjun Ajwani was in a different zone. I mean, there was the hitting, when he's hitting those balls for sixes, I think he hit, 5 6s or something like that. But they are, forget 65 yards, they're like 75 yards and 80 yards kind of a thing. So he was hitting it clean. Udit batted outstanding. Suyog was fantastic in that spot which he went in. I thought the Glad's batting was impressive. Last week, if you remember, I told you, I didn't think GLCC was impressive. And it might have been shocking for most people because they were coming off a huge win. But I said that there's only 1 or 2 people performing. And I personally, as far as I was concerned, I didn't find GLCC to be impressive, despite all these great talents which they have added and things like that. And sure enough, this week, when we'll cover that game, we find that, they lost the game. If you ask me, I was not impressed with the Glad's fielding. I was not impressed with the Glad's bowling. I can give the Glad's fielding a pass because they're fielding with 10 people, 9 people or 8 people if you take the keeper and the bowler out. So you're trying to cover such a big ground. So, yeah, so you probably couldn't get to a lot of balls. But the bowling, if you ask me, it was pathetic. I think the Glad's bowling really, when you give almost 1 run per over as an extra, there itself you have boosted the opposition's run rate by 1 run. So, we gave left and right extras, but I thought Shivam bowled very well, Taif bowled very well, and Adi Aital bowled excellent. But the pick of the bowlers, if you ask me, was, yes, Shivam put 3 wickets, but if you ask me, the bowler who impressed me most was Taifur Rahman. And he was the skipper in this game, and sure enough, he underbowled himself. I don't know what's wrong with these skippers. When they become the skipper, they either push themselves down in the batting order, they can't figure out where they want to go, or they feel that they need to give somebody else bowling when they are bowling better than everybody else. But if you go and watch the game, this Taifur Rahman reminded me of the old Taifur Rahman, where I would just give him the ball and ask him to just deliver me the results. He was outstanding. So for me, the good thing which I took away from this game was Taifur Rahman looked like the old Taifur Rahman, not the one who was leaking runs and people were taking liberties with him. He had real zip on the ball. And, when they get 3 overs, only 6 runs, you can see what the reason for that is. So I personally thought it was an outstanding bowling effort by him. Sure enough, when one bowler is doing such an outstanding job, bowlers work in tandem. It's always the other bowler who probably picks the wicket. And Parthiv knows this very well. He might be breathing fire, but he may not be picking wickets because the opposition is forced to target somebody else to get the runs, and in the process gives the wickets. But yes, I was happy to see Taifur sizzle in this game. Now, Parthiv, you're a skipper. And in this show, we try one of the things which we do, we're just not analyzing the scorecard. What advice are you going to give to Sathish Gaba, and the Titans, as Vamsi said, they are facing an uphill task. He has already said that they are fighting with dark horses for the basement cellar. I wouldn't go that far because I honestly think, yes, they played 3 games and they lost 3 games and they got only 1 point out of the 3 games. But remember, 2 out of those 3 games are against Pokeries and Glads, which probably at the beginning of the season itself, you had already written it off that those are probably lost causes, that if you get a win, great. If you don't, let's see if we can at least get a bonus point. Well, they didn't get a bonus point against either of these 2 things. But that's the good thing. Those 2 tough games are out and they got an idea of where they stand. But what advice would you give him? Because we want to try to help him out. But I agree with you, Parthiv. I rate Vihar Vaidya very highly. I was shocked to see him come that low, and he remained not out. You get my point?
Right.
I felt he was wasted. You get my point? So I felt the 3 games, when I look at it, one of the things Gaba is still not clear in his mind is, where does everybody go? Yes, I think Anil Bilmoria going down was wasted because Bilmoria is going to hit the ball no matter when he goes. And so if you have the power play in the first listing and you have an attacking batsman who's going to go for it, whether it is in the first over or whether it is in the 15th over or the 21st over, well, he might as well get it done there. And if he gets the job done, he gets the job done. But again, Mayur came at 2 down. I'm not trying to pick on Mayur, but here is the problem. The asking rate had already climbed too much. So now Mayur is forced to play a game which he's not comfortable. He's certainly not. He went for a shot, and sure enough, he got caught. You get my point at the point region. So my point is that when you get out of your comfort zone, you probably don't produce. But Vihar is a guy who can milk the singles and doubles and things like that, and he can hold one end up, and he generally is able to keep that pace along. I was surprised to see him this low. Maybe one of the questions we should ask Gaba when he comes today: hey, what happened? Why these changes, which is not making much sense? But I was okay with where Gaba came in, because when he came in, anything middle and leg, if anybody is playing Titans, do not bowl to Gaba on middle and leg, because he jumps on it faster than a leopard and sends it packing, you see. And he hit some great shots in this game. But our bowlers tended to, at some point, you need to go and tell the bowler, hey, you can't be bowling on middle and leg line to him. He is feasting on those balls and he is depositing them outside the park. But we kept bowling the middle and leg line, and you bowl a middle and leg line, it's a kiss of death. Gaba really feasted on it, but he batted well, so all the credit to him. But if anybody who wants to play Titans, don't bowl a middle and leg line to Gaba. But so coming back to the question, what suggestion would you offer? Quick suggestion, which he can do to...
I think the quick suggestion I would offer, apart from what you just mentioned, basically, the asking rate is climbing. You need to kind of start knowing that fact. I think the first and foremost thing is, I think he's experimenting too many things at one time. Every game you see a different scorecard, different lineup. I think he needs to basically trust his players, and especially the core players. And the core players are, himself, Saurabh, Sahish, and Vihar, and then Abhishek. Those are like the 5 or 6 core players, and they need to take the heavy burden of making sure that the team, both in bowling as well as batting, is taking on most of the overs, making sure that they have a platform. I think, yes, you want to give the other guys a chance, but in giving other guys a chance, or too many people a chance up front, what you're doing is you're basically putting pressure on people who have, been in the situation, have handled the situation, and know how to kind of get through it. So I definitely feel that, his core players, he's keeping them too far behind and then expecting, things to happen. But by the time, the pressure is so much that even they cannot sustain. So it's surprising that, most of their batting lineup, I see they are in their 40s and 50s strike rate. I think they definitely need to talk and make sure that, they discuss about what strike rate they want to play. 60 at a minimum, it should be 60 and over, at least at the first 12 overs, and then, lay that platform to accelerate towards the end. Towards the end, if you see the scorecard, I don't see anyone who could really accelerate the scorecard. I think Saurabh is definitely one of the guys. I've seen him. He can definitely go big. He needs to probably be used as the finisher role towards the end. Whereas Vihar, he's more of a builder. He needs to step up probably in the 2, 3, 4 position. So I would basically try to reevaluate the skill set of these players and then kind of position them, slot them in the role. I think right now the role and the batting position is probably not explained to the players. Like they just show up at any position and they're probably unaware of what they need to do. So I think a skill matching and a skill analysis would definitely help. Sathish. All right, the next game, it was the clash of the bottom rankers. No offense to Phantoms, I know they are definitely on the move. This is probably the first win in DCL, if I'm not mistaken. And Dark Horses again keep dropping to those unwanted levels. They haven't been able to give a fight or even come close to it. And in this game, I'm glad to see that Phantoms finally have registered a win. It's great to see a new team kind of tasting success. All in all, I think we expected Phantoms definitely to win, and I'm very happy. I've seen those guys play together. They're definitely one of the teams that I would recommend for the Fair Play Award. I've umpired their game. I've seen their game. They never seem to be untoward incident during the game or question the umpire. They play and probably the reason why is because there's not a lot of expectation. So right now it's all fun and loving, but I am sure as they start winning, those kinds of things will start creeping up in their team as well.
I think Phantoms have won before, as Vamsi just pointed out. They beat Dynamites, so they are 2 games, 2 wins. All right, so they have a record this season. So, and on top of that, they have got the bonus point in both games. So, all I can say is the eye test did not lie. The old jungle saying is that when the Phantom asks questions, you answer the questions. Our friend Rajesh from the Phantom Skipper and the Phantoms asked a lot of questions to the Dark Horses guys, and the Dark Horses guys had no answer. I would say good job, Phantoms. But I just want to say I just feel bad for Pankaj Watts. I have a lot of respect for him. I think he's a fantastic person off the field. And, when I see him season after season playing and losing game after game after game, and his talent not producing any results, at least for the team, where he's fighting a lone battle. I don't enjoy seeing him in that losing column and in that losing position week after week. But hopefully, at least he's having fun doing it. But having said that, it's no fun for me to say that Dark Horses lost another game. But I'll hand it over to Vamsi if he had some special comments. And I know that Satya has already said that we just covered 3 games and already 40 minutes. So probably want to hurry it up. So I'll keep my comment short.
I'll skip this game, Vijay, because I think Parthiban you covered it pretty much, about both Phantoms as well as
we have 2 big games to cover, that's why. So
yeah, let's move on to the next game. I think the one big game this week, Detroit Bulls versus Stars. And if you remember at the start of this season, I had basically, selected Pool B as the group of death. And I know, Viju, you had great explanation to say now it's Pool C. But this is exactly what I was anticipating. There are a lot of teams like Detroit Bulls and local boys. We'll talk about local boys when we come to GLCC. But these guys have been playing a lot of tournaments throughout the year, and they are very capable of upsetting some of the bigger teams. And this 2 wins, this Detroit Bulls win and the local boys win, definitely blows open Pool B. In this game, for me, Nikhil Sani was probably the game changer of the week with both bat and ball. Bulls put up a pretty good score of 107, and Stars, I think they were missing a couple of their big guns in this game. Ravi Teja was missing. He's been a very big contributor to the Stars lineup. And Stars never really, I would say they were in the game for most part, but I think their batting didn't really come anywhere where they were starting to challenge. I think apart from Shan, who held the innings, nobody really supported him down the order. And I see a lot of new faces show up in Stars as well in this lineup. So I think the F40 and the T20 league that is starting up with Mishka, I think definitely has taken its toll on Stars. I know we all are aware of the controversy that happened during this game. So that was something which was the highlight of the week involving these 2 teams.
Well, coming to this game, right? One notable, thing that I noticed is Detroit Bulls has actually promoted Nikhil Sani from number 9 position in the previous game to open this game. And Nikhil Sani is a very decent player, very good player. I've played against him in the past. And one player whom Troy Hawks lost this year is Vijay Karthik Batina. He opened the innings. He also scored about 22 runs. I would not say the replacements for Troy Hawks would not be that great, but it's definitely a loss to lose Vijay Karthik to a different squad. And both the openers, scoring in 20s and then well supported by, three other individuals who reached into the double digits, right? Naveen Pedi last game, he had good outing. Suhesh Ravi is a good batsman, and the skipper Mahesh also scored those 10 runs. But when it comes to starts batting, we've noticed that previously in the season as well, when they played against KRCC, that except for Ravi Teja, there is no other batsman who got into a double digit. In this game as well, you only see one contribution from the stars players, right? Which was Nishan. And other than Sean, I think the rest of the batting unit just gave us a phone number to deal with there. And when it comes to the Detroit Bulls bowling, right? Their keeper led from the front, taking 4 wickets in his quota of 5 overs, Mahesh, and is properly named the man of the match in this game.
Yeah, I think one key player they're definitely missing. I don't know where he is. Maybe he's out of town, out of country. But I don't see Imtiaz yet featured in the first 3 weeks. So I think they definitely miss his services.
Guys, you guys might have heard this Rajni joke. Rajni was boasting a lot that he knows everybody in the world. And he was yapping away with Amitabh Bachchan that, I know this person, I know that person. Finally, Bachchan felt, ye gadi pe drama kar raha hai. I mean, it's like left and right, this guy is talking, he's dropping names left, right, and the center. And he said, well, do you know Tom Cruise? Of course I know Tom Cruise. What do you mean I don't know Tom Cruise? And then he said, prove it to me. He said, come with me. Yeah, and they'd go to Hollywood and they land up at Tom Cruise's house. Tom Cruise sees Rajni and says, hey, Rajni, how are you? You come for breakfast. You're just in time for breakfast. Have breakfast with me. So Amitabh is stunned, that this guy knows Tom Cruise. And so then he said, all right, do you know President Joe Biden? Oh, of course I know Biden. I mean, he keeps calling me left and right to asking, questions about Ukraine and everybody else. So sure enough, they go to the White House. Biden sees Rajni and says, hey, Rajni, you are there. Come, have tea with me, you're just in time for tea. So Amitabh this point is like stunned. And he says, well, who else can I think of? He says, well, you know what? Do you know the Pope? He's such an old man, so he figured that Pope is somebody Rajni won't know. Oh, yeah, I know the Pope. I know the Pope very well, Pope takes my blessings instead of me taking his blessings. So the thing is that they go to Vatican City and there's a huge crowd outside the papal palace, And so Rajni tries to wave his hand and try to attract the Pope's attention, where nobody can. He says, this is not going to work. I mean, you stay here. I'm going to go up there and I'll show up on the balcony and I will have the Pope wave to you. So sure enough, Rajni goes and, sure enough, Rajni comes out with the Pope on the balcony and both of them are waving to Amitabh. At this point, Amitabh faints. And so then Rajni comes and finds out that Amitabh is fainted. And then, they wake him up and then they said, hey, why did you faint? He said, I was doing perfectly fine until one guy asked me, who is that guy standing with Rajni? So you see, coming back to this thing, I wanted to say in this game, when I looked at this, the reason I brought the story out was when I looked at the Stars team, I had exactly the same question. Imtiaz, not there. Ravi Teja, not there. Sidhu, not there. Zishan Gori, not there. Matta, not there. Satya Chanta, not there. Vamsi, I saw this and I almost fainted. All right. I saw the Stars lineup and I said, you know what? Our friend Satya had already told this last week. 40 is starting, guys. You guys, there might be an upset. And then at that time, I responded and said, well, the Bulls better hope that most of the Stars players go for 40. I do not know if they all went for 40, but poor Shan was the lone wolf who was trying to hold the Bull at bay. Now, I am just curious what in the world happened to Imtiaz and most of these Blazer boys. If you look at this lineup, it has mostly a Falcon lineup there. I hardly see any of those Blazer boys. And our friend Avinash already said that you guys are talking about an umpiring boo-boo. Can you please educate the audience as to what is the umpiring boo-boo? So let me educate our audience what the boo-boo was. In this game, I believe it was the Stars who were batting and the Bulls were bowling. And a 7th ball was bowled. And in that 7th ball, if I'm not mistaken, if I read your email correctly, Parthiv, 2 runs were scored in that 7th ball. And sure enough,
Yep.
the Bulls then found out the error was made. And then they brought it up to the umpires, this thing that, hey, you know, a seventh ball, that 2 runs should not count because the seventh ball should not have been bowled. The umpires obviously did not read the DCL rule book, because if they had read the DCL rule book, they would have known what the DCL rule book says. And the rule book is very clear. If the fielding team, the batting team, and the umpires do not catch the error, then everybody has to live with the error. Simple as that. Because otherwise, we're going to have a whole set of comedy of errors. You need to, if a wicket falls, all of a sudden it's a problem. If a run is scored, it's a problem. Well, you guys all can know how to count. When I was the skipper, I knew how many balls were bowled. Not just that I knew how many balls were bowled, I also know how many runs were conceded in that over. And most of the time, I also knew what was the scorecard. I mean, now, maybe you can't do all that, but you can definitely keep a track of the balls and the number of runs conceded in that over. I think every skipper needs to do that. And if he can't do that, if he doesn't have the mental capacity to do that, find somebody on your team of remaining 10 or 11 players who can do that. And you won't have a problem. But I think the committee was spot on in saying that, yes, that 2 rounds should count. I think that is the only acceptable decision. And that 2 runs had a big ramification, because that 2 runs meant that Stars got the bonus point. If that 2 runs were not there, the Bulls would have got the bonus point. But I think in this game, Mahesh Babu Bururu was outstanding. He picked up all the most of the top wickets. He's the guy who picked it up. I saw him indoor. Vamsi, when I saw him indoor and he played against Glads, and if I am not mistaken, he picked 5 wickets against us. I said, this guy is an outstanding bowler. The Bulls have an outstanding player. I used to say that Geno James is their best player. I still think Geno James is their best player. But I think Mahesh Babu Buluru can give them a run for the money. And I won't be surprised if every now and then Mahesh comes out as the top player. In this game, he was rightly adjudged the man of the match. But I'm curious, who is the skipper of the Bulls? I thought either Geno or who is that? Tanuj was the skipper.
This year,
Mahesh was saying that Mahesh is the skipper now?
Yeah,
Yes,
Mahesh is the skipper.
Okay, I didn't know who was the skipper, but if he was the skipper, then he awarded himself the man of the match, but he rightly deserved the man of the match. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, he's the game changer of the week. At least he got my vote for game changer of the week, because I thought that his performance was that outstanding. No. But see, it says Tanuj is the captain. So it doesn't even list Mahesh. That's why I was surprised when Vamsi said that Mahesh is the skipper. I didn't think he was the skipper.
Yeah, I don't think they've updated the... Yeah, they haven't updated the website, but in the WhatsApp group of the captains, I think Mahesh is their representative. So I think he's been handed over the reins this year. But this game, as you rightly said, Parthiv, Nikhil Sunny and Mahesh Babu, they played outstanding. Mahesh Babu was Batman and Nikhil Sunny was Robin. Batman and Robin took care of the Stars and made the Stars see the Stars. But I had one question.
I had that question. What happened to all these players? I mean, especially Imtiaz and the Blazers. I think Vamsi wanted to give an answer.
Yes, Imtiaz is in India. He was supposed to come back the first week of June.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if he's back or not, but I think we'll see him in the upcoming games.
Okay.
And with Mahesh Babu leading, right? You know, I met Mahesh recently, a week back. And then he told me that, Tanu's availability is also limited and Mahesh is leading the teams this year. And he has led teams before, be it the winter tournament or he has his own team in the Michigan Cup. So he's already into that role. I think he's best suited when Tanuj is away. Or if Tanuj has completely handed it over to Mahesh, then I think he's the right fit.
Now, one question I had before we move on to the next game is, I know, Vijay, you mentioned about this rule in the DCL rulebook, but the DCL rulebook also mentions about the umpire decision on the field being final. Which one, like, I was, while we were deliberating, we were still trying to figure out one way or the other, because we also say that, whatever the ruling on the field stays based on the umpire decisions, but we also have this rule written down in DCL rulebook that, about the 7th ball, being bowled and being counted for either a wicket or a 2 runs. And both those things are true in their own sense. I just want to know you guys, what do you guys feel is probably the right thing to do here?
Arthur, I think when the rule book is very clear on a subject, that ends the discussion. Because after all, the committee spent hours deliberating on the rules and coming out with a code of rules by which all the games are going to be the same. That is why we tell our umpires, read the rule book before going to umpire a game. Parthiv, you might be surprised. I wrote many of these rules, all right?
Mm-hmm.
So even though I wrote many of the rules, Parthiv, I had a rule and asked Satya if I didn't tell him that. I told Satya every year before the season started, I read the rule book cover to cover. Even though I knew all the rules, even though I could by heart say a lot of things, I still read it because I know that I might forget things from time to time, because after all, we are all human beings. But if the rule book says something, you can't go against the rule book. The umpire is supposed to uphold the rule book. But now if the umpire is going against the rule book, then you're going to have a serious set of issues, because let's say a no ball is decided and the umpire decides that's not a no ball. Where in the world will you end up with? So you have to go by the rules, because that's the rules of the game. In DCL, we have modified many of the rules. And if you have a 30-yard rule saying that, 30 yards from the stump is your 2-run marker, then 30 yards from the stump is the 2-run marker. The umpire can't come and say, all right, I'm going to make that 20 yards.
No. I'm not talking about following the rules versus not. I'm talking about the retrospective changing the outcome or deciding on that based on the rule book. So let's say, take another instance. Let's say a wide was given or something. And now the DCL rule book says that, beyond like the leg, let's say down the leg is everything is wide. Now let's say an umpire doesn't give wide and a team plays under protest, just like how they did here. Do we go back and change it because they played under protest?
I think you have to, right? Because Parthiv, if anything down the leg is a wide, don't you think that a team which is batting has already been disserviced? They have every right to play under protest. What else can they do? Because for me, when I am batting, everything down the leg is not a wide. But when you are batting, everything down the leg is a wide. We can't go by different rules. I mean, my point is that anything down the leg is a wide, and that we made that because it is easier for the umpires. Right. Now, the umpire, if he had read the rule book, or even if this rule was showed, he should have had the common sense, and he should have had the integrity, and he should also have the humility, because sometimes an umpire, when he makes a decision, he feels he's higher than everybody else. That's the decision I made. That's it. Come what may, I'm not changing it. Well, I think that's a wrong way to approach things, because you should have the humility. When you are shown that you're wrong, okay, admit that I was wrong. And you know what, guys, the rule is very clear, because this was put just for this, that there might be a 7th ball bowled and there might be a wicket which falls, or maybe a run which was scored. Well, both teams had a responsibility to do that. And the umpire also, there were 2 umpires, and both are supposed to be keeping track of the number of balls bowled. Now, if all 4 of you missed it, well, you got to live with it, because it can't be the committee's headache at this point of time. And I think the committee made the right decision. If you ask me, this was right down the middle based on the rule book, and the rule book decided it. And I think the Stars were right in playing it under protest. And I think the committee also should be applauded for making the right decision. That's my opinion, personal opinion.
Cool. All right. I know that there's a lot of debate going on right now. I mean, obviously, the Bulls will not be happy with that. But I think, as you mentioned, a rule is a rule. And this is something which is not on discretion of the umpires. It's a rule. It's basically that the runs should be awarded. It's not just a arbitrary discretion on the umpires. All right. We'll talk more if we have time, but let's move on to the next game, the Hawks versus FCC game. I had betted on the Hawks. I'll be perfectly honest. I had my bets on Vikram Golomari, and the goalie did not fire. Vikram forgot his pistol probably. His pistol probably at home, and the Hawks suffered. His contribution, as you've seen in the previous 2 games, he has been the main sole contributor, and has been kind of the engineer of all the victories so far Hawks have, and because he misfired, the Hawks couldn't put up a good total, and FCC I felt at one point in time were chasing pretty comfortably. They lost probably the last few wickets in a hurry, trying to wrap up the game. But all in all, I think FCC had Hawks covered all the way through the afternoon. But I'm sure Vamsi, since he was in the game, would probably add some more color to it.
Yeah, I mean, there is not much color to add to this part because the way Hawks started, I think they started pretty well, seeing off all the three bowlers who bowled 2 overs each in the first 6-over period. But then once they lost their first wicket and then lost Vikram, the very first ball, right? That's when they were set on the back foot, and Nishant was attacking, still bowled with his top 3 bowlers. They bowled about the first 9 overs, 3 bowlers bowling the 9 overs, and then comes the rest of the bowlers. And then at one time Hawks were reeling at 8 for 51, and then there was a drop catch for the last wicket, after which they scored about 25 runs. I thought Shashank really played well for his 20 runs, but what is surprising is the number 11 batsman didn't even play one cross batted shot. He played all those 18 balls with a straight bat, and then he was very sensible in the way he played. But I think, in my personal opinion, Hawks team is still a very young unit, and that is where they also dropped about 5 catches between the FCC openers. So sitters, few of them were sitters, and that was really very disheartening to see, even though I'm on the opposition side. But Naresh Arkat bowled well. He was still in his single digits, got a couple of wickets in 5 overs. But then the rest of the bowlers, I think they were still not up to the mark.
Yeah, my friend Vamsi, you're being humble and not calling out yourself. You picked up 3 wickets. Talk to us about that. How did that happen?
Let's not even get there. The reason being, when we go to practice, right? Yeah, I keep on bowling in the practice net sessions. So what happens is, I'll keep on challenging the batsman, saying that, come on, hit me for 2 sixes or 3 sixes, right? And then the one who loses takes the other one out to get biryani. That's how it works.
Oh, nice.
And then it was during the innings break, not the innings break, about the 12-hour break, right? That's when Nishant asked, will you bowl? I said, yes. And then he asked, can you handle the new ball? It might slip out a little bit. I said, yeah, I'll try. But then I got 3 wickets in 2 overs. And
so does that mean we'll be seeing Vamsi open with a new ball now, going forward for FCC?
Let's not even get there. I thought it was a one-time affair, but again, it's up to Nishant. If he throws the ball, I'll bowl.
Nice. Parthiv, I have some choice comments for Nishant for this boo-boo which he has done. All right. Golamari, if you ask me, did not fire, and the Hawks paid the price because they seem to be too dependent on Golamari. Parthiv, let me ask you a question, and let's see if you can get the answer. Who is the only man? Michael Jordan in the NBA averaged over 30 points a game. Many seasons he averaged like 35, 36 points in that season. Mm-hmm. But I think for his career, he averaged almost 30 or 31 points a game. Who is the only man in history to have kept Jordan under 20 points a game? In fact, in college basketball, he averaged 13.5 points in the first season, 19.9 and 19.6. So in other words, at no point he averaged 20 points. Who is the one defender who could defend him or who could make sure that he did not reach his potential? So much so, coming out of college, he was not even the number 1 pick. He was number 3 pick. Who is the one man?
What is it? Is that a player or a coach?
Well, the answer is it's the coach. The North Carolina coach was the only man who could keep his own player under 20
I've
points.
Heard about
okay.
It. I've heard about that. Yeah. He's that Smith guy. I've heard about this.
Yeah, Dean Smith. Dean Smith was his name. He's the only man who could hold Jordan under 20 points because sure enough, when Jordan came out of college, he was not even the number 1 pick, and he was not even the number 2 pick. The number 1 pick was Hakeem Olajuwon. The number 2 pick was Sam Perkins. who knows Sam Perkins? At least Olajuwon people know, so I can give a pass to Houston for picking Olajuwon. And, nobody even thought Jordan will be that great. And he came out and he dominated the NBA. Let me tell you something. After this game, I saw hippos flying upside down in the North Pole. I saw rhinos flying upside down on the South Pole. Because when I looked at this game, Partha, I was amazed when I saw KK had figures of 2 overs, no maiden, 11 runs, 3 wickets. I have never seen KK bowl. I have only seen him batting. I have never seen him bowl, and I never thought he knew how to bowl also. But sure enough, I saw the scorecard, 2 overs, 11 runs, 3 wickets, and then I'm going to ball by ball. And in fact, I started watching the game to see KK bowl. But I don't know what's wrong, KK, but you guys have what, picture in picture there? I mean, you guys are the only guys who are having this picture in picture where it's such a small, teeny this thing, because most of the screen is black and it's such a small rectangle that people like me who are old find it even more difficult to watch that game. So I stopped watching it and I went to ball by ball. And I see that after 2 overs, he was taken off the attack. Parthiv, I'm simply ticked off. I'm peeved off.
I know.
I'm in a tizzy. Let me tell you something. A husband and a wife had a tiff, all right? And so the wife called the mom and said, you know what? This guy is fighting with me again. I am coming. I'm leaving him and I'm coming to live with you. The mother says, no, daughter. He must pay a price. He must pay a steep price for his mistakes. I am going to come and live with you. Parthiv, all I can say is, Nishant, how in the world could you have done this travesty? Once in a blue moon, this man had an opportunity to pick a 5-wicket haul, because at that point when he picked his 8th wicket, there were still 2 more wickets. This would be a highlight of his career to have picked 5 wickets. It would be greater than him scoring 50, because I know he can score a 50 in DCL because he has the capability for that. But I don't think in 1,000 years, I would have thought that he would pick 5 wickets. But just like Dean Smith could keep Jordan under 20 points, in the same way, Nishant Shivakumar is the only man who could have stopped Vamsi Kanangati from picking 5 wickets. Let me tell you that. And my feeling is, just like that mother-in-law said to the daughter, you know what, we need to teach this guy a lesson. I am going to come and stay with you. I think Nishant Shivakumar was taking it out on Vamsi, because remember, Parthiv, I asked the question, Vamsi, KK, where are you playing? I don't know. I'm not sure where I'm going to play. I'll make my decision. So I think he pulled this decision out for a long time. And so here was an opportunity for Nishant Shivakumar to give it back to Vamsi KK. And sure enough, KK didn't get the 5-wicket haul. I thought it was a travesty, but this was a great opportunity. But congrats, KK, on a fantastic game, though.
Thanks, Vijay. But I'll tell you what happened. Right after the 16th over, the Hawks team took the power play. And then Nishant was going back to the prime bowlers to get those wickets. And
Vamsi, that is a bogus excuse. Let me tell you something straight on your face. That is the weakest excuse I can think of, because he gave you the brand new ball. And he said, hey, can you bowl with this new ball? It might slip out of your hand. It might slip out of your hand. No, you still took the challenge. If he had told you, Vamsi, can you bowl in the power play? You would have said, yes, I'll bowl in the power play. But no, he never gave you the chance.
I'm just hoping that there are more chances in the games coming up.
Oh, it's Nishant is leading. He may never see this chance again.
All right, next game. I think this is a game which is probably one-sided, as you can see. The Dhairia 11 elected to bat. Didn't put up a high enough total to challenge Pokris. Apart from a couple of contributions from the Shivaji and Shivang, not much of a contribution. I think Pokris bowled really well, keeping the extras to under in single digits. Vignesh, good to see him back, and him and Saranraj, obviously Saranraj and Neil probably from that backbone of Pokris, and all 3 were on song. Good to see them getting a good run a good outing. Sarun Raj with the bat as well, opening the batting, and him being there all this while, just made sure that the Pokhris just chased it with ease. They did lose a couple of wickets in the end, but to make the scorecard look a little interesting. But at one point of time they were cruising along, at 50 for one or something. They were cruising along, and then they lost a couple of wickets in a hurry. But all in all, I think it was a pretty comprehensive victory for Pokhris.
Parthiv, I'll pass on the comments because I've been again reminded that I'm one of the bigger culprits for this time going over. So I see that Ravi, it's nice to be a skipper because you know what? You can go wherever you feel like going because Ravi Narala came at 2 down there. So it's good to be a skipper. He got a chance to bat, and he remained not out. So, but yeah, it was a one-sided game. So let me pass on this rather than bore people with the details.
Good. I think we can skip to the game because this game was pretty much a one-sided affair. There's nothing much to speak about other than the Pokhris dominance.
Yep. Next game, I think, was the Hitman versus the SLCC Guardians. SLCC Guardians haven't really yet come to grips with DCL. I know they are a brand new team, so we're going to give them a slow run into DCL. But Hitman, on the other hand, they are a pretty strong unit. I played with them last year as well. They have some pretty useful all-rounders, I would say, in Arun and Srijit. And even though they didn't get enough score of 88, I think they did a fantastic job of actually defending it. Albeit, I think it might have been close towards the end, especially with our Limburgi or Limbagiri. Really holding the fort for SLCC Guardians. I think it was getting close towards the end with the 10th wicket partnership, and fortunately, Hitman sealed the game just in time. So, Hitman, I think it's a great win, good win for them. Good to see, I'm sure, and good to see Philip amongst the wicket as well. I know he's one of our analysts' favorite, so good to see him also in the wickets. But I think yes, Hitman is going to definitely pose a challenge. We meet them next, so hopefully, we can get the better of them next time.
And Parthiv, what I think about the SLCC Guardians, right? I think their openers are way too conservative in DCL. Because I've seen these guys bat earlier as well, right? And the other opener, Sandeep, he played 32 balls for 9 runs. There are balls to be hit. There are balls to defend. There are balls to hit. There are balls you can rotate, right? You don't want to throw your wicket, very fine, and get on to the other end. But, striking at 28, what it does is it puts more pressure on the team, because for the entire team is new. The rest of the team also needs some additional time at the crease. But right in this game, what happens? You face about 5 overs, score 9 runs. Then comes another batsman, plays 3 overs, scores 6 runs. Then comes another batsman, plays 2 overs, scores 3 runs. It eats up all the balls, and you get to a stage where you have to actually go for it. And that is what Hitman Swami did. He hit 3 boundaries. Even then,
I wonder it's because this, we see this pattern develop, especially at the top of the order in the newer teams, is because I think the role the captain defines to them is probably like, you need to stay at the wicket, but that does not mean you have to literally stay at the wicket, just basically block balls. I think that needs to be communicated to them, that it basically means that, you don't have to go for the big ones, but you have to at least rotate.
We understand that in the previous game, SLCC Guardians were 30 for 0 and 37 for 6.
Wow.
Right. But it is up to the middle order where the wickets were lost to actually stop that from happening. It's not up to the openers who actually gave you a start of 30 runs to go on ultra defensive and, do the damage to their own game, right? That is not how it works. And I really thought Ajay Sai Veerapaneni, he has to bat a little up the order. And, even Sudha, he plays better. I think he also needs to promote himself, take it upon him to actually lead the team and, rotate and be the mainstay over there.
Vamsi, let me ask you a question. Is Limbargi Swami from Lansing?
Yes.
Okay. So he's one of those gang of 4 or 5 who are coming from Lansing for the game.
Yes, Limbagiri. That's all. Yeah.
Yeah, Limbagari Swami. All right. Coming to this game, I thought it was brilliant bowling by the Hitman bowlers, not named Sharath Satyanarayana. I think the Hitman skipper missed a trick in the sense that he did a fantastic job throughout the game. But for this one boo-boo where he gave that one over to Sharath Satyanarayana, for what reason, I do not know. But he went for 15 runs. In this game, it didn't cost him a bonus point or a loss. But do this against strikers or do this against some of the other teams, which are the better teams out there, and you will pay the price. But again, I was happy to see Philip Thomas doing well. He's, after all, my buddy, as Parthiv said. But I think the Hitmen are improving as a team compared to last year to this year. If you look at it, I thought, if I am not mistaken, 2 games, 2 wins, 10 points or 9 points or something like that. I thought it was 10 points. I could be wrong. But SLCC Guardians, we were expecting a lot more. I want to ask you guys, what do you guys think? So, are they a pretender for the playoffs or are they a contender for the playoffs? Now, before the season, if you had asked me, I thought they were, because they had, split it 50-50 or, 70-20-30 or 65-35 or something, the talent between Legends and Guardians. I was expecting them to be a contender for the playoffs. But at this point, if you ask me, I feel they have played 2 games and they've got 1 grand point to show for it. And they are not able to beat the Hitmen. The Hitmen, they couldn't even get a bonus point there. They are a pretender. They are a pretender for the playoff spot. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I definitely feel that as well. I think they definitely haven't been impressive so far, but you never know with the young teams, who's available and who's not available and what their strength is, or maybe they're trying to figure out. So I'll give them the benefit of doubt for a week or so to see before I make the call for pretender versus contender. I don't want to rule them out based on 2 games right now.
Yes, and one other point I want to mention is that they're yet to play Stars, they are yet to play KRCC, they are yet to play Strikers, and tough games are upcoming, and you only have 9 more games, and probably you need 7 wins to get into the playoffs.
You either, I don't know about 7. I think even if you win 6 games, especially with bonus point, I think 30 points will get you in, is what I'm guessing. I could be wrong.
True, but again, would you predict 5 games in 5 points in each game? Looking at
well, yeah, I agree. 6 points, 30 points is 6 games with 5 points each. But we'll see what happens. Let's go to the next game, which is what? Troy Hawks versus Thunderbolts.
Yes, this was probably the closest game of the weekend. I think the Thunderbolts at one point of time were definitely in the game as they were chasing, but they didn't get through the line, and I think part of it was the last 2 wickets. I think they wrapped up really quickly at 8 for 64, chasing a total of 87. You still had a good chance, but I think the last 2 wickets folded. In fact, the last 3-4 wickets folded up really quickly. I think at the top of the order, both Kannan and Prabhat both had them going. Again, I think you see a similar kind of pattern here as well. I think there's too much respect shown for the bowlers. The strike rates falling in the mid 20s and 30s in the middle order. That's where all the pressure adds up, and when that starts to build towards the end, especially when you're chasing, it creates those wicket-taking opportunities. On the other hand, I think I was a little disappointed with the Troy Hawks batting. I think I expect Troy Hawks to score much more than 86. So all credit to Thunderbolts.
Camera is down. We're not able to see.
Oh, yeah. So a little disappointed with the Troy Hawks batting. I know yesterday, the last week when we talked to Santosh, he had great things to talk about his team, and I do feel that they are always in the 100. They have a pretty good batting lineup, but Again, these kinds of things happen. You always have a bad day, and good to see them come through this low-scoring affair. All credit to Pradeep, who was their mainstay, scored almost half the runs. And Thunderbolts, I would definitely compliment them on the discipline they showed during this bowling. You know, only 7 extras, which is a commendable job. So Thunderbolts, definitely, I think, should take heart from this victory, and see how their tournament shapes up.
Parthiv, in this game, right? Last week when Santosh was on the show, I think Vijay, you asked him which player are you more wary of in the Thunderbolts game. I was thinking Deepak. I even thought I'll message it to Santosh, but I think I missed it. Deepak Bhaskaran is a very good bowler. Last year we have seen him pick 5 fours, 4 fours, left and right, and he was, I think, leading in the charts for Thunderbolts in the bowling department. There were games where he was the top scorer in the batting department as well, and that is what he exactly did in along with Riaz Kareem, right? So both the bowlers picking up 4 wickets each. But what I'm more disappointed with is the batting order. We were speaking about the same thing last week, that certain players needs to go up the order, give them more time. That didn't happen. But again, Santosh took it as a challenge upon him to go open the innings. It's unfortunate he didn't get many runs, but I think Pradeep Konradi played a fantabulous innings. 42 of 42. When your team gets bundled out for 86, right? He was the mainstay and well supported with Murali. But other than that, look at all these batsmen, right? Few of them superstars in their own teams back then. They didn't score much in the last 5 wickets. They lost it for from 82 for 5. They're down to 86 all out. They have 5 more overs to score.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that probably Santosh didn't communicate over is, we talked about Kaushik coming up the order. I still see him lagging in the batting order, so that probably didn't go through, or they weren't able to change. I see Santosh come back up at the top of the order, which is probably what we had recommended as well. But Kaushik still slipping down in the 7 to 8 slot is probably too low for his capability.
True.
And I think
at least with the bat, he didn't perform. But in the bowling, I think Kaushik was the one who made that inroads. He took the first 2 wickets, got them. But then it was the Thunderbolts game to lose, right? They were at 51 for 3, needing 34 runs, 36 runs in 11 overs with 7 wickets in hand, and they score only like 23 runs.
Yeah, I actually, Vamsi and Parthu, I thought that Thunderbolts almost had the game, because when I look at the opening partnership between Vinod and I, credit Santosh, he did say that Vinod is their danger man, which he wants to take out. But these guys had a fantastic opening, and it's after that they lost complete this thing. But I was surprised at Deepak Bhaskaran coming so low. If you ask me one reason, and Vamsi identified it about the batting order, I wrote it down here in my notes, was that this is inexcusable, that Vinod by now should know Deepak Bhaskaran's capabilities, and bringing him that low down probably cost them this game, because he ran out of partners. Now, who bears the responsibility for that? Maybe Deepak Bhaskaran is saying, I don't want to go up the order, I want to come down. But we said this last week, a captain's number one job is to win the game. Not to make friends, not to make buddies, not to make please anybody, not to make people happy, not to distribute the ball around. No, you are judged by only one thing. Did you manage to win the game for your team? Because you are in charge of making all the important key decisions. And I felt that Deepak Bhaskaran coming that low played into the Hawks' hands, because he ran out of partners. And, this game was a close game. And this game could have gone either way if Deepak Bhaskaran had come a little above. So I think maybe a little bit more experience from Troy Hawks probably pulled the game out in their favor. And Thunderbolts probably paid the price for sending Deepak Bhaskaran that low.
And with you, I'm actually looking at Deepak Bhaskaran's statistics. He played 12 innings, stayed not out in half of them, scored 130 runs with an average of 21.6 and a strike rate of 75. And he scored almost 80 of these runs, which is 60% of the runs in singles and doubles. I mean, I don't understand why he's playing number 9.
All right, let's move on to the next game.
Yeah, the next game would be a very welcome relief to Ramesh after the first defeat that they had. This was a welcome victory to get the tournament started and their season on track. I think this was a very clinical performance by FCC, wiping out Motor City. Motor City is a relatively very inexperienced new team, so they are still in the learning process. But I felt FCC early did all the right things. Significant contributions from a lot of their batters. I see a lot of double-digit scores, which all adds up. And I think Ramesh, probably yours are sure he did exactly what we told him he shouldn't be doing. That is, experimenting too much. So I do see in the bowling lineup, 5 bowlers being used, or 6 bowlers being used. So, or maybe it's 7. Maybe I counted wrong. But yeah, the last over I would say is a wash because it was just 2 balls. But I would say he did most of the things right.
True, Parthiv. And we also see it from the scorecard that at one time Agni was 46 for 5, but a 50-run partnership between Jashwant and the skipper himself. I think that steadied their innings and they finished well, 113 in 25 overs. And Motor City is still a new team. And I thought Agni got a good game over here.
I agree, guys, because we are running out of time. I'll pass on it other than saying that Jashwant had a fantastic game. He is a very good player. So good to see him in the runs. So congrats, FCC Agni.
Well, the next game of the week is our favorite team to talk about, Sterling Strikers. I know we've always had a lot of things to talk about them, but this was a week where they basically put their feet down, made sure that they crush Spartans and don't give us another chance to question their ability and question their strength. I think Spartans again have not really shown this season, apart from their couple of players at the top, Chanakya and Nadeem, who they rely on. They haven't been getting those contributions, and because of that, they've been posting well below par score. 68 is probably is never going to challenge one of the top teams in the league. And Ali Abbas, when he's on song, he's a great treat to watch, and he basically made a meal out of the Spartan bowlers. 45 runs at a strike rate of 137. I think the game was probably over in before even the Spartans could realize, before even they could take a sip of water and have the drinks break. The game was all done and dusted. So all in all, great win for Sterling Strikers. I see all their big guns come back. Jawad is there, Ali is there. Talal and Mansab were also in the lineup, but they didn't need their service. So all in all, great win for them.
Bobsy, you're going or?
Yes, I marked myself on note. But this is something I wanted to talk about in today's show, because what I see in the Spartans innings is ultra defensive play. Because Chanakya Lokam is their best batsman. I've seen him play, and probably you can in the top 10 batsmen that I've seen in the last 2 to 3 years. And what happens? You are 17 for 4 in the 9th over, 8.2, and then the next wicket is at 25 for 5. So in a span of 7 overs, when Chanakya is batting, you only get 8 runs. And you're at 25 for 5 in 15 overs. Even though you get 60 more runs, which is very less probable in the next 10 overs, you'd end up at 85. Right? And you want to make a game out of this. And I think it was just ultra defensive play in this game. Looking at the other team, maybe the credentials, the players, I don't know what, but I thought that Spartans brought it upon themselves in this game.
Parthiv, I was so happy to see that our Do Kwon was back, which meant that I don't have to be getting Luna coin, but rather I got paid in Bitcoin this game. Now, one of the guys, Parthiv and Vamsi, if you do not know, who regularly watches the show, is a gentleman by the name of Talha Assad. He plays on Sterling Strikers. Last week, he sent a live message, which, usually I don't watch these live messages. But fortunately, Satya sent a screenshot of the live message, and he basically saw that, we were having fun at the Sterling Strikers' expense, especially with that story of Manti Te'o. And so he said, Vijay, I watched the show very much, and, I like the show and things like that. But we put in a lot of effort to get the Sterling Strikers to where they are. All I wanted to tell Talha Assad is, Talha, no offense to you or to anybody else on Sterling Strikers. If Sterling Strikers had beaten Indus, guess what? Sterling Strikers would not be in the Luna coin position. We would have had Indus Thunders in the Luna coin position, and we would be having Sandeep Gopu doing Chucky piecing and Chucky piecing and Chucky piecing and Chucky piecing, and we would have Srikanth Yerua feeding him all the spices to get nicely grounded up. Okay, that's exactly how we would have played this all along. But Thunders won the game, and Sterling Strikers lost the game. At the end of the day, we have to make things funny and keep things light. But I think this Sterling Strikers team is probably the one which we were looking forward to, which should have taken Indus Thunders on, because now you have Jawad back, now you have Mansab back, and he's not roaming around in Canada trying to mine Luna coin. But now when we go and do this, we are actually getting Bitcoin, So I was happy to see the Bitcoin pay off this week. So congrats to Sterling Strikers, but hard luck to Spartans. We said this before itself, where's the offense going to come from? And when you're playing a high-profile team like Sterling Strikers, who have a number of good players, I don't think 68 runs is going to cut it. So when you go to bat first and you win the toss and bat first, I think you should be looking between 90 to 100 runs. I mean, that's reasonable. Then all of a sudden, the pressure shifts.
And I do feel, I think Sterling Strikers, with if they have all their weapons in place, I think they probably, if not the best bowling attack, I think one of the best bowling attacks in the league. Simply because I think they have the most miserly bowlers who don't give away anything, and because of that, they get a lot of wickets, like Raza Ali, Saad Salman. Obviously, we know Mansab. All those guys are like big wicket takers. So I definitely feel that definitely a very good bowling unit. And if Ali Abbas and others can back the batting, I think that's going to be the key of how well they bat.
See that we have an iPad 4. I'm assuming it's either Gaba or.
Yep, we have one more game to go, and then we have one more game to go, and then we'll step into the predictions. The last game of the week was the upset of the week. GLCC trumped by local boys. Now, this game here, I think I have two big observations. One is GLCC was probably underestimated local boys and didn't have some of the big names. I don't see Akash, Preet, Vaibhav, Shoaib, our good friend Tejas, Manish. A lot of these players are not there, and they had probably they lacked the bowling depth. You see Ajit and Jagan also chipping in, trying to fill that fifth bowler or sixth bowler slot. So they definitely, I think, lost there, where they conceded quite a bit of runs between Ajit and Jagan and Ashraf. If you count these 6 overs, they cost like 30-40 runs there. That made a big difference to the total of local boys reaching 126. All credit to Subhash and Sheikh. They definitely made it count. Put up a good total under lights. So it was definitely going to be a challenge. And I think GLCC fell short. And probably again, the batting depth, Akash has been holding that batting lineup in both of their victories previously. He's been the top contributor. Here, I think they missed his batting services. Although, the old stalwarts Ajit and Naseem and Samish all tried to, and pretty much like you see double figures being there, but no one really held on to get them over the line. So a big upset for GLCC, and that's another game which I feel now this result here opens Pool B even wider. Local boys and Detroit Bulls have definitely put their hand forward, and and local boys especially, from being a pretender to a contender. I definitely feel local boys is a contender for playoffs.
Arthur, we are not able to see your face. It's almost like your tummy is doing all the talking. So, yeah, go ahead. No, I mean, I just wanted to say that this game, I already saw this 1 week ago that they had some chinks in their armor. I agree that they didn't have some of their stalwarts, mainly Akash Patel, because he has been the one-man demolition army. But yeah, and they probably played Jagan Konda as the 11th man, so they didn't even have a 12th player. So they probably underestimated local boys, but let's not take credit away from the local boys, because when you look at the local boys scorecard, Subhash, I believe, who came 2 down, he played an exceptional innings. He scored 44 runs in 52 balls, not a single boundary scored. So it is a fantastic tee-ball innings. That means he has been milking the singles and the doubles, you see. And obviously, Sheikh Mohammed had a fantastic outing too. But the reason I said don't take the credit away is because Hemant Cheluvaiya, if you remember, Parthiv, last week, he demolished the opposition single-handedly, and he took, 5 wickets? And Vamsi was saying that he should have been given the 1 more over so he could go for a record 6 or 7 wicket haul, you see. And he was that good 1 week ago. But in this game, when you look at it, I don't think he got a single wicket. I mean, I thought he went wicketless. I could be wrong, but for some reason, I thought, where is Hemant Cheluvaiya? Where is our friend? It's on the GLCC's. No, the other scorecard. Yes, Hemant Cheluvaiya, 0 wickets in 5. That means the opposition batted well. So the local boys, I think, probably the shock upset, but let's give them credit. It was a fantastic outing by them. Satya Kampala got 1 vote for game changer of the week. He had an outstanding game. He picked up 3 wickets, and here you see that he scored some 14 runs or 15 balls. But they put 114 on the board, and this is what we were talking about with the Spartans. You can't expect to score 68 and win a game. You have to get it to, more than 80, 90, 100. Yeah. The moment you get to 100, which is just 4 runs and over, and most of the teams will give you at least half a run to 0.75 runs in the form of wides and extras, you see. So, and if you're playing Glads, we might even give you 1 run per over as extras, you see. But what I'm saying is that, I think in this particular game, the local boys certainly outperformed GLCC. I think we give them all the credit. Fantastic outing from them. But sure enough, this muddles the picture in Pool B as to who is going to top that pool and things like that.
Yeah, makes my life difficult now from now on. All right, so that completes our analysis for last week's game. We'll now go on to the prediction of the week. But before that, let's welcome our guests on the show. If you guys want to show yourself, start your camera. We have Vijay Shanmugam from the Dynamites team and Sathish Gaba from the Detroit Titans. Welcome, guys.
Yeah, hi, Parthiv. Thank you.
Sathish, welcome. And Vijay, happy to see you. I heard you're on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't tell me you're waking up right now.
What's that?
Don't tell me you're waking up now.
No, I just came from work, so...
Okay, all right. Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm sure you'll be very pumped up. since you have the game you have been waiting for. Now, everybody knows it. Nobody has to say it. And there is a reason why we made this the showcase game of the week. Because, yes, there is one other game which is a high-profile game. But this has story within story. And this has a lot of
masala.
This has a lot of masala. This has got plenty of spice. And I know players on both teams want to show the other, hey, who is the top dog? So if I can watch only one game, this is the game I'm going to watch, because there'll be plenty of spice and masala. If both teams could win only one game in the entire season, they'll want to win this game. I know if I am in Gaba's shoes, this is the game I want to win. If I am in Vijay Shanmugam's shoes, this is the game I want to win. At least that is me as a human being, all right? I don't mind losing every other game. But this game, no, I don't want to go. So that's why we made this showcase game of the week. We'll get to you guys, but I think we just want to cover game changer of the week. And Partha, I'll let you go, or Vamsi, whoever wants to go on this one.
Yeah, so our game changer of the week is from the Detroit Bulls. We talked about him, Mahesh Babu Buluru, both with the bat and the ball, 10 runs of the bat, very crucial runs, and then he picked up 4 wickets. Our game changer of the week gets a $25 gift certificate from C4 Technology. So if you're listening to our show, get in touch with Satya, either email, text, call to claim your certificate by Friday. And make sure you do that. Otherwise, that gift certificate doesn't get validated. All right. Predictions. I'm still lagging behind. No surprises. But
actually, the lead got extended. Or the lead got extended. Vamsi, let me tell you something. Now I'm not going to the wall and asking mirror on the wall who is the worst analyst of us all. I have modified my question. My new question is, mirror on the wall, who is the bear chasing in the mall? And the last I checked today, the answer was the bear is chasing Parthiv Mehta. And that lead is just extending, which means at my age, I'm outrunning Parthiv Mehta and extending that lead between him and me. And I'm quite happy to do that.
Yeah, I am. I think I'll have to change a little bit of my strategy. I need to go back to my gut instincts more than trying to figure out who's the favorite. I think that has worked in the past. So, anyways, I think we'll probably do the predictions. Vijay, Sathish, if you guys want to chime in as well, you can also predict, help us predict. So for the first game, MI Rangers Hawks, I think I'm going to go with MI Rangers. MI Rangers, as we all know, have been troubled by the COVID virus. So this is their first game of the season, but they have a strong unit. So I'm no longer betting on the goalie Mark Pistons.
I'll go with the Rangers as well.
I'm going with MI Rangers too.
Yeah, I'm going with the man I told you, Sandeep Bundy. All right, nobody has seen him yet. Hopefully, we'll see him in this game. Hopefully, these guys have a video running, not like the video which these FCC guys were running. That's what I call the fake video. That's I don't know what that is. That is not even a video. They should be ashamed to call themselves that as a video, because that's not a video. That's something else. That's like a card reader or something like that. But Sandeep Bundy and company will rock Hawks. There'll be plenty of goalies firing. But it'll be coming from Sandeep Bundy.
Yeah. Vijay, I wanted to ask you, why do you think it was FCC who put up the video? It might be Hawks.
Oh, I didn't know, because you guys won the game. So I assumed you guys were very media friendly, you see. So I had this assumption. Now you're telling me that your skipper is not even capable of running a proper media show. At least the other guys could at least put up half-rated video. You guys are not even able to put up a video.
I really doubt.
I'm not sure. And I left early.
Okay. Well, I think for some reason I thought it was the FCC video.
Okay, I'll
I
check
could
on
be
that.
wrong. All right, let's revisit this topic next week.
Yep.
All right, this should be a no-brainer. I think Raptors are. I mean, I like Canton 11. They've been doing a great job. But I'm going to go with
with
Raptors.
Your gut. Go with your gut, Parthiv. Gut says Canton 11. You said you love Canton 11. Show them some love, man.
When I was filling this up, I was looking at whether these guys have a F40 game, and it looks like they don't play. A lot of these guys don't play the F40, so I'm going to go with Raptors. I'm going to bet on the Bahubali.
Okay.
I'll go with Raptors as well.
I'm going with Raptors. So.
Yeah, I mean, this is a no-brainer. I'm going to go with Raptors.
Okay, FCC Agni Sterling Strikers again. This is going to be another whitewash. Sterling Strikers for me.
Sterling Strikers for me too.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm still going with Bitcoin. I'll get Bitcoin, so I'm going with Sterling Strikers. Now it looks like their entire unit is back, and so they are properly doing their proper mining now. So it's no more fake mining in Canada.
Okay.
This is mining in Detroit. So let's stay with Sterling Strikers.
Indus Thunders and FCC. I think Indus Thunders should get the better of FCC, even though I think probably they'll be missing a couple of their big unit players. But I think they have enough strength to get past FCC.
Yeah, I'll pick Indus against FCC in this league. Yes. Parthiv, you thought.
Oh my God.
Parthiv, this is all about capturing the top price, all right? This is about monetary constraints are coming into play, all right? Money talks. Money talks, baby. Let me tell you that.
I hope Nishant is watching this.
Yes, and let me tell you something, right? Teju, Nishant, Sujan, myself, and the rest of the unit is all new. So it will be a challenge to throw these young folks to go against the 3-time champion in the last 4 years and give them a challenge that go beat these guys. And I think it's a great opportunity if that happens. But yes, that is the only reason I'm picking against Indus. And thanks, Vijay, for mentioning. I did not know that our predictions actually had a monetary value.
There is a monetary. No, there is a monetary reward. Our C4 Technologies guy is sponsoring. Though this year's winner doesn't get as much as last year's winner. Now, I probably need to talk to him a little more and say, hey, how about raising it to $251, which he gave last year? This year's winner gets only $151. I probably need to have a chat with our C4 buddy and say, hey, is there any way you can throw in an extra $100 and make it the same as last year? But I think Satya is staying with Indus. What's that again?
Last year, I was going to say, Vamsi, last year, Dynamites beat Indus Thunders in the league stage. So it can be done, and Vijay is right here. So he can tell you how he did it last year.
Yeah. Now, Vamsi, I have so much confidence in Nishant to make sure that he doesn't use his secret weapon. So for that reason, I'm going to go with Indus Thunders because my confidence in Nishant's abilities is sky high. I know that if he knows he has a weapon, he will not use that weapon. So based on that, I'm staying with Indus Thunders.
I'm going with Indus.
See, next time, Nishant will never dream of not taking the ball away from you. I'm telling you.
Okay.
Not after I confirm 3 or 4 6.
My spelling mistake. Okay. The Rising Stars versus
Local Boys for me. I would have. This was something if it had Local Boys hadn't defeated GLCC, I would have picked Rising Stars. But it looks like Local Boys are definitely a team to watch out for.
Yep, my pick is Local Boys too.
So I pick Local Boys too.
Parthiv, the thing is, as you said, I didn't know anything about Local Boys. But, last week we didn't know anything about Badshahs and we all jumped into the Badshahs bandwagon. But Alishan Ibidat made sure that we bit dust and that we had, cow dung dropped on our faces, you see. So I just hope the local boys do not follow Alishan's lead example, that in fact they will actually come out and play a good game. So I'm going to go with the local boys, but it's based on last week's performance. That's what is driving me, because I saw what they performed, and I think they did a fantastic job. So if they do anything close to what they did against GLCC, it should be local boys.
All right, this should be another one. One which I would go with Stars, but I'm hoping that Stars do not repeat the Detroit Bulls performance. SSK is definitely a good unit, but I'll still back Stars, based on past performances.
Stars for me too.
I'm going with Stars.
Vamsi, will I be seeing the same Stars lineup which made like Amitabh faint, which
You
made
can
me
take
faint
SSK
after I
with
saw?
you.
No. I'm staying with Stars, my
Go for
friend.
it.
I'm staying. I'm staying with Stars. I'm staying with Stars, but I am hoping that last week's loss will drive Parankusam to make him send a Boeing 747 to India to pick up Imtiaz and bring him for this game. But hopefully we'll see a lot more stars of the Stars coming and playing this game.
Yeah, I think Imti will be playing this game, and he in tandem with, I think
They
Imti
need
with
Ravi
his
Teja.
form is good enough. Yeah.
Ravi Teja should come back.
Okay, this is a no-brainer for me. Unlike Vamsi, I'm supporting my team.
Well, you are the skipper, Parthiv.
Oh yeah, that's true. Otherwise, people will stop playing.
Yeah, I'll go with strikers.
Yeah, this time I'll pick strikers. I think they are getting the groove. So,
Yeah, last year Hitman beat Strikers, right?
No, we beat them.
Parthiv? Oh, you guys beat them, is that all right? So you guys will continue the same process, is what I'm assuming. I think Parthiv Mehta will have his number on Arun Shankar and company. So I think Strikers win this game.
This might be
Both are very disciplined bowling units. All right. If you look at the wides, which both teams concede, they both keep it under single digits. But when you have a guy like Vinod who can pretty much pitch the ball where he wants it to pitch, that's a huge advantage.
All right. This is a big game, and I think this is going to be one hell of a game if both teams have their big players showing up. Is this a morning or an evening game? Do we know? I hope it's a evening game. That will ensure that people, all the players are there.
Yeah,
But
this
anyway.
is like 9 o'clock, 9 a.m. morning game.
Okay, that's going to be tough. So I think based on that, I was going with GLCC either way because that's my favorite team. So and I'm hoping that Samish doesn't repeat the same mistake he did last week. I'm sure he's not going to underestimate KRCC, but I'm hoping that he gets all the big guns for this game. And on the other side, KRCC. Yes,
guys,
this is my way to come back.
What is that? No, you're picking JL. No, I'm excited about something else. Our friend Chetan Thakkar listened to me, and even before I can ask him, let me read to you. I haven't even read the report, what he said, but he said, Chetan says, as Vijubai suggested, I'm going to bump up the award to $251. So now you know. Vamsi is going to be picking against FCC every week.
Well, let's see. It depends, if I get to bowl or not.
All right. But hey, long live Chetan Thakkar, and great effort by him. I mean, watching the show live, he rose to the occasion. I didn't even have to make a call and ask him. He just said, yeah, you know what? Last year's winner got 251. I'll keep it the same for this year's winner too. We do not know who the winner is going to be, but I have a pretty confident it won't be Parthiv Mehta. But let's go on.
You will see. You will be surprised. So this is
All
one
right.
game I'm going to bring it
Yeah.
up.
We'll see. We'll see. All right.
SCC.
Oh my goodness, Satya is going with KRCC. I'm telling you, hippos and rhinos combination, crossbreed is going to be flying on top of the North Pole and South Pole, all right? Because Satya never picks KRCC. Talk it internal rivalries, I don't know.
No, nothing like that. You don't create scene.
I don't know, but this is the first time I'm seeing you pick KRCC. That's the reason for the observation. Go and watch all the previous shows. You have never. I mean, I'm talking about in close games. I'm not talking about one-sided games. One-sided games, it's a no-brainer. But
Yogi is going to get all his guns, I think. So hope everybody comes to play and makes a good game. So.
that portion I do not know. I mean, I think Oni will come, but other guys, I don't know about their commitment levels. Probably not. But again, Vamsi?
I'll be KRCC.
I think that's
I'm going to go with KRCC too, mainly because I already told you 1 week back itself that I was not very impressed with the GLCC performance. So
KRCC beat Strikers in their previous encounter, fair and square, and GLCC loses to a new team in their previous encounter. I think I'll go with the informed KRCC.
Yeah. Well, I think basically KRCC has Tamim Oni, and Tamim Oni does a lot of damage. So GLCC, I'm sure Samish is a smart guy. He'll be looking to see who can do a number on Tamim Oni. And so he does have a few options there.
Rematch from last year.
That Vijay Shanmugam? Yeah,
rematch from last year.
Yeah.
Rematch and Rahul Chenna's innings, I think that's still very fresh. But I'm sure.
Sorry, okay. I forgot. I thought you were talking about GLCC versus KRCC.
Yeah, it's the same, right? Like both are rematches.
Both are rematches, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so
this is also a rematch.
Yeah, so this is going to be an interesting game, and let's see if Glads now have Rahul Chenna's number. Last year he really took Gladiators apart and took them by surprise. But I'm sure this time around, you guys will have some plans. So I will definitely go with Glads.
I'm going with Glads too. I'm not sure if Rahul Chenna will be playing this game or not. So let's see.
Why you have some news which we do not know?
Yeah.
No, he is not available for. He's not available for the Michigan Cup game. So I'm not sure if he's in town or not.
Oh, does he play for you in Michigan Cup?
Yes, we all play together. Me, Avinash, Satya, Rahul.
Oh, no, I didn't know Chenna was on your team.
Yes, he is. But his commitment is limited this year. You want to qualify.
All right. Okay. Well, I'm going to stay with Glads. Again, I think, yes, last year it was a fantastic innings. But can it be done twice in a row? Well, I doubt it. So that's why I'm going to go with Glads.
Yeah. Only Sachin Tendulkar does it twice in a row. I don't think anybody else can do it twice in a row. All right. Phantom Safaris. Safaris have been kind of muted this season. Haven't got a chance to really show their prowess. And Phantoms 2 out of 2 wins. Definitely, a team on the rise. But I'll still go with Safaris. I think Phantoms still have a little gap which they need to cover this season.
I'll pick Safaris.
Yeah, again, it's the eye test part for me. I've seen Phantoms, I've seen Safaris, and wherever I have a chance to go with the eye test, I go with the eye test. And for me, the eye test says Safaris, so I'm going to go with Safaris. Though I just was informed via text that Safaris were all out for 35 in some Michigan Cup game. But again, Michigan Cup game is not DCL game. But once again, it might not be the exact same Safaris unit, because I know Michigan Cup game has all these 7 points or 5 points or whatever it is, and you have to meet all that requirements and things like that. That makes it really challenging. Whereas DCL is No rules, nothing. You can field whatever team you want to field. So usually I think DCL games ends up being a better game because you can field better players and you're not limited by some points and things like that. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, this should be a no-brainer. I think Troy Hawks.
I'm going to Troy Hawks.
Yeah, I'll pick Troy Hawks as well.
Yeah, me too, Troy Hawks. I'm betting on Kaushik Chapadi and company.
And that brings us to the showcase game of the week. We have our captain from both teams. So let's give them a tough time with all the questions we have. All right. Obviously, first question, which we all have, I think it's a universal thing. Talk to us about, Sathish, talk to us about how Detroit Titans came to be. And why, so obviously it's two-folded. One is you had a successful unit in KRCC. You guys reached the finals. What was the need to have another team, and how did it, the team concept came about of building Detroit Titans?
Actually, Parthiv, this is a great question because I warned Sathish Gaba 1 year ago that whenever he comes on the show, he can expect this question. Well, it didn't have to come from me, but it's a no-brainer. Any person with half a brain will ask this question. And Sathish Gaba is one of the smartest guys in the world. He also, I'm sure, for 1 year, he
done his homework.
He had enough time to marinate on this question, you see, and barbecue this question. And I'm sure we are going to get the answer. So, Sathish, I'll let you answer Parthiv's question. But that's the $1 million question. Very rarely you see a team which has reached the finals split and go in two different directions.
And Vijay, I want to add something to that, right? Last year.
Please keep marinating. Add some more masala. Please. That's what drives the TRP points.
Should I make a note of those questions or?
No, it's just an addition to what Vijay mentioned, right? Last year, the KRCC skipper, Yogesh, comes on the show. He talks about how great his rapport and Kamakad is with you. And he talks how great it is to have you on his team for several years where you have worked together. And then I was quite surprised in the Winter Cup when KRCC was fielding a unit and you were playing for another team. I think it was Troy Avengers or something. And that's when I was surprised. But there were rumors behind saying that, Sathish is forming his own team, taking, his friends with him. But then not until April that I realized that you actually put in a team. So give us some background on what happened.
Can I add one more thing to that? Forget this thing. I also heard the rumor that Sathish Gaba was going to be playing for Glads. Okay? So I was informed that Sathish Gaba will be playing for Glads. And I hadn't heard it before. So I called up the Satya and said, is it true that Sathish Gaba is playing for Glads? He said, no, I didn't hear anything. So then I said, you know what? I can't keep running around all this and find out who the source is and all. I picked up the phone and called Sathish Gaba, and you can ask Sathish Gaba. And I did invite him to play on Glads because I think he has the necessary talent to play on Glads. So that's how highly I think of him. And what I like more about Gaba is his ability to work behind the scenes. He's a very good man manager. And I think that is one of the reasons why KRCC had a lot of success in the past years, is that Gaba used to do a lot of behind the scenes, because as Yogesh himself came on the show and said, he travels a lot. So he needs somebody who can stay there and run the ship. And Gaba was the man. So let's give him credit. If KRCC reached the finals, Gaba had a big part to play. Just like Maulik had a big part to play because he was the best batsman last year. So he won them many games. So let's give credit to Gaba for what he has accomplished. But yes, coming to Parthiv's main question, very rarely we see a team which reaches the final split and go in two different ways. But yes, I think whatever Vamsi heard, everybody else in the league was hearing. And of course, there were plenty of stories in all kinds of directions. But over to you, Gaba. It's this thing.
Okay. So let me put a little bit background before actually we, talk about the main thing around it. I think a couple of people, or including this DCL PrimeTime show, also know about this. So back in 2000, this KRCC was formed by us only. Like we used to play FCC, Mishika, and DCL before 2016, 17 and 18, we played all together. So this is formed by group of people who are still part of the Titans at this point. And then you know about the picture where 2018 Yogi Bhai came, the ownership transfer and all other things, right? And back in 2018, a couple of people from our team decided to play with the Raptor instead of going with the KRCC because it was completely new unit now, right? And at that point of time, Yogi Bhai reached out to me from some other contact because I used to play with the KRCC. And that time he has no one. I think only Nalin committed, and Nalin forwarded that this guy could, get you a unit, he has whatever you were saying. Then Yogi Bhai reached out to me, and from there I started working with Yogi Bhai back in 2018, getting the team from the scratch, pulling out people around I could, possibly get till 2021. So, and along with that, Yogi Bhai was just taking care of the team in the DCL, and I was taking care of the team throughout the year. So, either I like it or not, I was being a face for the people that I have brought up with me in the KRCC. So, I always had that sense of responsibility for the people that I have brought to the KRCC. Now, going back to the reason. So, from the last year and even the future KRCC, me and Yogi Bhai was not on the same page. So, and then as I mentioned earlier, that I always had that felt of responsibility for the people that I have, because they always see me as a leader. Okay, if anything goes up, down, they always see me on that aspect. So I decided, I did not make a team. Okay, I decided to leave the KRCC, and there Viju and other people have got the news that I'm leaving the KRCC. If Viju, you would have known that I'm putting a team, you wouldn't have been reaching out to me to play the Glads, right? At that time, I decided to leave the KRCC at that point. And as soon as I decided, I have to travel to India. And then when I came from the India, things were all different. Many people were on the similar page where they probably, not want to play, or mutually we decided, okay, why not, we decided, go ahead with do the same team what we are doing with the Michigan, because we never be a parted because of the KRCC, right? We already having a Michigan team, we already playing SCC tournament all together. If you see the Detroit Titans, right? Even including Amrit. Amrit is part of KRCC from back in 2014-15. He just play Dynamite for the DCL last year, if I'm not wrong, right? So he was part of the original KRCC which we have formed. So now, because of this ownership, KRCC, we wanted to create a new league just to avoid any further confusion. We changed our Michigan team name also to Detroit Titans. Now we are into one umbrella of Detroit Titans. So it's not that we completely formed a team from the scratch. We already had a unit which was playing Michigan, which was playing SCC all tournament. It's just that we all wanted to play together DCL also. And here we are. And DCL has given us opportunity to allow a new team at this year. Therefore, we have got into the league.
So the question, I think you mentioned that there were differences between how you and Yogi Bhai saw the team growing. Can you tell us what were the main differences between how you guys saw the teams growing?
Right, there may be many things around it. I mean, let's not go into that, like what could be, differences. There will be, if me and you both are playing on the same team, we will have different opinion, right? How strong opinion we both are having, and how, and moreover, why I left, I can tell that, right? Because I started feeling the same, that probably I'll not enjoy the cricket, because when I play, I have full-fledged life. I have my son, my family and everything. I play this cricket just for, entertain myself. This is my hobby. This is Saturday and Sunday. Right. Even this whole summer and winter, we do, we work, we talk about cricket, we do practice, we play game, talk about it, drink, over the drink, and all those things we do, right? So I just thought that if I'll continue with the KRCC, probably I'll not be able to enjoy myself. So that was the more reason that for me leaving it. And then other people have their own reason leaving the team, or maybe I'm not sure why Yogi Bhai would have able to hold them, but it did not happen, and it worked out for Titans, and then here we are.
So Satish, when Yogesh was on the show last time, he said he lost 9 players. Did you get 9 players? I didn't think he lost 9 players, but he said he lost 9 players from last year's unit. Did 9 players come with you?
Probably, because I did not count, but yeah, probably 8-9 players. I think Ishan Patel also went to striker, so he might be counting him also. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Vamsi, you have questions?
But one thing I want to highlight, all those players are part of original KRCC who was playing with Mishika. You can go and see Mishika from 2016-17. All those people are part of our team only. So it's not that snatching, or they left by their own. I think, I'm not sure. Individually, I have to explain why they have left it, but I can explain why I left the team more clearly. That's what I'm trying.
That's good. Thank you so much for sharing with us and being honest.
So
let Vamsi go.
Thanks, Sathish, for letting us know why you formed the team Detroit Titans, but why the name Detroit Titans? There might be some background to it.
I don't think. It's just that we just sit together in one party and we thought a couple of names, and then different opinions.
That's generally how it goes.
3-4 names popped
Yeah,
up.
but we know what the Titanic, right? There was a breakup there also, right? That was my theory, was that in the Titanic there was a breakup, and maybe this was Titans plus Titanic, and maybe that was there's no harm in me speculating, right? But Sathish, let's come to this game. All right, obviously Vijay Shanmugam lost a number of. If you ask me, the biggest loss from last year was not just KRCC losing their players, but a team which had reached the semifinals. Last year's glory boys, or the guys who captured everybody's imagination. Many of us were cheering. I cheer for Vijay Shanmugam because he's a good friend of mine. We talk often, even when the season is done, you see.
Mm-hmm.
So he and I share a lot of personal camaraderie. I've known him for a long time, so it goes back several years. But when he called me one day and he said, many of his players, which included Amrit Yadav, Anil Bilmoria, Saurabh, a few other players who all played for him and who were integral part, which helped them reach semifinals for the first time. Now all of a sudden, all of them are gone, you see. And he found out in a very awkward manner. And so since then, I'm sure fires have been burning in his heart and in his mind, looking forward to the day when he would run into the Titans. And as luck would have it, as the gods would have it, both of you guys land up in the same pool, and both of you guys have no choice but to meet each other. Now, tell me about all those players. After all, those are Dynamites players. How did that happen? Because I know Anil Bilmoria has been playing for Vijay Shanmugam for a long, long time. They used to work in the same office too. And then Saurav used to play for him for ages. I have not seen him in any other uniform than a Dynamites uniform. And Amrit Yadav, I can't say much about, but there are other players too, right? Vijay, you lost? Prakash, yes. Prakash is another player who was another key opening bowler for him, right? So I can understand Vijay's feelings, and you yourself admitted to me that, yes, I can understand some of the Dynamite skipper's feelings. So explain to me how that came about.
So as I mentioned, right, Amrit Yadav is playing with us, and he's a very good friend of mine from a very long time. And he's playing with KRCC from, I think, back in 2015-16 itself. And when he moved to the Dynamite also...
In DCL?
No, as part of the KRCC Mishika team. He is
in Mishika team, not DCL, not DCL, right?
Not DCL, because DCL we had a unit, and that time also we discussed with Amrit when he wanted to play with the DCL and he had a very good offer from the Dynamite, then we discussed there and I said, you have better opportunity. You can go and play there, because that time again, Yogi Bhai was not very comfortable, keen to get talent like Amrit and, giving him that comfort, probably, that was my thing. But when we were forming this team, and actually he is my vice captain too, if you do not know. So we both, so when we decided to go ahead with the new, so Amrit and myself sat together and we thought, yeah, it's doable. And then why Anil Bhai and Saurabh came to our team is something that Vijay Sannamugam should be answering more. What was their reason to leave? Probably, I believe they might be having some communication over there. But again, Amrit and Prakash was playing with us, around us from very long time. And when we decided to make this team, he was integral part. He was vice captain, and we sit down together and form this team. So he has to come. And then Amrit brought Saurabh Bhai and Anil Bhai, both. Amrit brought it. So, and they are a really good addition to our team too. So they are more than welcome to the Titan, and they are integral part now. Why they left to Dynamite is something I think Vijay Sannamugam should address that, because I believe they should have some communication there.
All right, we'll let Vijay answer that. Counter.
And guys, before I forget, and I'll forget this because I'm getting old, I want to admire both of you, because this would have been an easy interview to dodge. A lesser man who hides behind the skirt and sari of his wife will dodge this. But you guys, I have to admire you, because not many people have the guts to do it. There are many people who hide behind the pallu of their wife's sari, Those kind of guys don't have any guts, and those kind of guys will never achieve anything in life also, because they are afraid of anything and everything which is said. At the end of the day, guys, you guys have a responsibility to promote the game. It is the showcase game of the week. There is going to be spice. There is going to be masala. There is going to be some bad blood. And there is going to be, hey, I want to win this game. Hey, that's what makes this a captivating game. Of all the showcase games which have happened in the first 5 weeks, this is the 5th week, right? If I could see only one game, this is the game I wanted to see. Not any of those other 4 games. Yes, I would have loved to watch all of them. But if you tell me, out of these 5 showcase games, I can see only one game, I'm coming to watch this game. So much so that even if Glads are playing, who are we playing? Miles. And it's happening at the same time. If you have a broadcast of this game going, I can assure you I'm watching this game. Yes, one eye might be on the Glads game, but that is how much it captures my imagination. And so I readily voted for Showcase Game of the Week. Obviously, everybody in DCL will be talking about all the undercurrents behind it. But I just wanted to throw it out that you guys, I admire you, because you could have dodged it, but a lesser man dodges things. Yeah, I mean, when we lost to Strikers, I didn't dodge the questions which Avinash asked me. That's part and parcel of it. You play a game, you'll win a game, you lose a game, and things like that. And yeah, you'll have to answer some tough questions. So that's what makes it intriguing. That's what captures people's imaginations. They want to see what is going on. That's what makes must-see TV. Everybody else who can't analyze a scorecard, you can look at a scorecard and say a few things, but it's more than that. So I wanted to applaud both of you for doing that. And that's what probably a lot of people will be tuning in to see. So Vijay, I'll let you answer. Obviously, your opponent for this week has directly said it is something which Vijay Shanmugam has to answer. And so, right. Vijay, here is your opportunity to tell all of DCL what is going through Vijay's mind and what is bothering Vijay.
So I was taken back because we had a DCL night when we all gathered and we threw in a party, and all these guys who left Dynamite, they told like how we will come back next year. I have the video of all these guys talking, all these poor guys who left.
Vijay, I can vouch for you, because you called me after one of those things and you told me, I don't know if it was Amrit Yadav or maybe one of the other guys who said that he would only play for you and nobody else. Yeah. And then the next thing I know, he has left your team.
Yeah.
So I was shocked.
I was taken back because the only question I asked was, what was the reason, right? Like basically, KRCC never had Amrit Yadav. Amrit Yadav was produced from Dynamites for Satish Gaba's information. Amrit Yadav failed a lot of times. We continue to, hold, it's my turn.
Hold on. Let me set the rules. Guys, when the other guy is talking, please do not interrupt him. Write your notes down. And then when it's your turn, you can respond to that. So Vijay is making his point. So please go ahead, Vijay. But by the way, Parthiv, you should be the one who should be controlling this. You're the host. Instead, you're letting.
I am letting it go. So I'm letting it go and let it rip.
So again, this was happen because this is something that I've been talking, like every year I talk to all my players. Are you coming back? Just tell me frankly so I can plan for the next year. I don't have to babysit people because these are professional people. I respect their professionality. And, like if you want to leave, just tell me ahead, right? Don't give me this BS that I'm going to play for you and then leave all of a sudden, okay? I don't care about, where you come from, what you do. I don't care about all those things. As long as we play together, I treat everybody as the same, okay? And this really broke me when they said in the last minute, they are moving for a different team. And I asked the reason. There was no genuine reason. So, and it was, there is no problem with me, Amrit. None of the 4 guys who left, they got plenty of chances. I think they got more chances than they got in Mr. Detroit Titans team. And end of the day, it was a unit that is balanced. Everybody had a role to play in the team, and that's how you develop a team, right? And Amrit didn't play for 2 years. I mean, he was scoring like 2s and 3s continually. It's like giving chances, and then eventually he came around. And if Satish Gaba is saying that Amrit is always part of the team, then he should have played before. So that I don't accept from that captain. And at the same time, Prakash never played for them. Prakash played for FCC before. This is the first time he's playing here in for DCL, as far as I know. And so there are a couple of things. And then I don't know why Anil and Saurabh left. Probably they were, I don't know. I can't really tell that. But the core of the team was taken from us. But at least I would have appreciated, based on the relationship I had, they told me a little bit earlier. That's why we are I'm not trying to give an excuse why we are losing easy games, but it's one of the facts that I don't have time to go and plan for all these exceptions, right? Because we are getting busier with kids and everything and work, and so that I really didn't like it. I don't really appreciate from the guys who left, and we will see in the field.
There you have the first open challenge. He called Gaba by that opposing captain. So that's one thing which I noticed in that very heartfelt conversation. And already Vijay has made it clear, we will see those guys on the field. And I'm sure Amrit Yadav is watching this, and he is going to be pumped, wanting to come to this game and prove that he's not a 2-run, 3-run player, and that he's probably 25, 30-run player. Whether he can get it done, we will see on the game day, because Vijay Shanmugam has already put the gauntlet out there, saying that he's going to come there and he's going to show it on the field. And they have been waiting for it. I know Vijay's feelings on this one, but Vijay, my friend Avinash, who is also a good, avid, keen observer, he says, Vijay, how come your background says bye-bye? Is it bye-bye to the Titans, that they will be going bye-bye in the game? Or is it bye-bye to all these guys who left your team? Bye-bye, see you later, guys, later, I don't need you guys. What is that bye-bye? What is the significance behind the bye-bye? Can you just duck a bit? It says bye-bye what? I'm not able. Bye
2020.
Okay, all right. Okay, we are in 2020. Forget that. But anyway, somebody observed the bye-bye. It was none other than Avinash Raghu who observed the bye-bye. So,
Yeah, I mean,
now is it bye?
I think all those four guys are very competitive. I'm not saying that, but again, there's no bad blood. It's just my feelings. That's my opinion, and I'll put it straightforward. And yeah, let's settle it out on the court.
So my question, Vijay, is during the season or even before, did you have any inclination that the players were not happy or were wanting to leave?
No.
Had no discussion, no observation, no inclination at all.
No.
Parthiv, I'm testifying to you that the day when I was courting Satish Gaba and asking him that if he doesn't have any other team which he has zeroed in on, then we would like to have him there. And I openly stated it because as far as I was concerned, Gaba has enough talent to play on Glads. That's how I saw it. But more importantly, I wanted Gaba's other skill set, which is being able to manage players and long range planting. I became a fan of Gaba when I listened to him analyze a game. So maybe someday we should have him analyze some games. But having said that, at that time, I remember talking to Vijay Shanmugam, and he had told me the story of how they were all waiting to come back the next year, you see. So at least at that point of time, there was no, even Gaba has admitted that at that point, there was no question of a Detroit Titans. It was only a question of him leaving KRCC. There was no question of Detroit Titans at that point. So obviously, whatever happened maybe 3-4 months later. But I think whatever Vijay Shanmugam is saying is right, because at least he conveyed to me that, they were all pumped up, and, quite a few of them were saying, how they wanted to build on last year's successful season, best season ever for Dynamites. And then, they were like, we are only playing for Dynamites and not for anybody else. So, yeah. Satish, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to segue into the actual game. So, whatever both teams have done, obviously hasn't worked so far for them. Detroit Titans haven't been able to pull a win. Dynamites have yet to register a win. So, things are still shaky from a composition side of things. So my question to Sathish is, we've observed during the Detroit Titans game, the scorecard and the batting order is, different in all the three games that you've played. What is going on? Why are people shuffled so much? And when will we see a more stable order?
Yeah, I'm very being unfortunate about not winning a toss, first of all. Okay, all three games have lost it.
Okay.
Many of the strategy, when you sometimes, you always think when you make a strategy at home, right? You always think that, assume that you win the toss and do something, right? With a certain format. Because of that, but if you want to analyze, I have seen and heard all you guys analyzing our three games, right? And talking about certain things. I do agree for some of those aspects. But if you see the MCC miles, we had a good batting order in that day. We had started really good. It is just that we could not finish well, and then dropping the catches has hurt us more actually. That day we would have easily got 120 around the way we have started. And if you can browse the batting order also, I was on the second down, and Bihar was, I think, because you guys were talking more about a couple of players, so I just wanted to answer. I think Bihar was third or fourth down that day. If you see Abhishek, ideally, me and Bihar would have been back to each other, but because we had a really good start and Abhishek can, hit, we wanted to capitalize. So we have promoted Abhishek above Bihar at that particular point of time. But this particular batting order, even that time, Anil Bhai also was supposed to hit and close the game, right? Because we need somebody hitting down the order also. And I think we also talked about about the Mayur also. Just wanted to clarify about him as well. He is playing DCL first year, but he's very known hardball player, and he's playing in this Michigan tournament from years, I believe, like 6-7, and he's very mature player. It's just that he is accommodating. Upon my request, he started playing this DCL this year. He's a very mature player. I think he's only accommodating the game. DCL game is, I know Vijay Bhai, Parthiv, you have been there for a long period of time. It is difficult for a new player to come and play the game because specifically somebody is only coming from the hardball game, right? I still have a lot of hope and a high confidence on Mayur Bhai that he can be there. He will be like what you see Vihar, right? He is kind of Vihar who can hold the innings, and we have a lot of mixed bags if you see, right? Who can hit, and we need those kind of bag only. Like we cannot have all Mayur and Vihar, and we cannot have all Anil Bhai and Abhishek in the team. So still we see we have a good batting order. It's just that MCC Mile, the game we have lost. Pokris, we played pathetic, I would say. I was very disappointed with the game we played against the Pokris. We would have been a more competitive, and we actually 90 odd runs against the Pokris bowling. We should have got that, but we were very bad that day. And Glads, again, the Glads game, I'm just trying to analyze from my end all these three games. Glads game, I don't know why Arjun came. He was in a hurry, and he wanted to go early, and we could not get his wicket, and he was keep on going. And 12 overs, we were actually little down, and then coming back from there was little tough. And again, Glads was something, if you would have beaten Glads, you would have been extraordinarily happy about it. But be practical about it, we would have played a little bit better than what we have done in the Glads, specifically from the bowling side and a couple of batsmen. Also, if you see, right, when we are chasing 160, if you open my batting order, I can try to justify why Anil, Amrit, they are both hungry with the runs, right? When we are batting 160 odd runs, there is no doubt that Anil and Amrit can go. Now, Rupesh is another new talent that we have got it. And Rupesh, if you see, right, FCC winter tournament is finding from there. He was the highest scorer for the winter until Troy Avengers was in the game. Only he moved out of the highest scorer when Troy Avengers out of the playoff, and then somebody succeeded his run. So he is also one of the good hitter. Then we have Saurabh, because when we are chasing 160, we wanted to get somebody who can go and score some run and get you alive. It did not happen, but that was my batting order at specifically on the Glads day, because the Glads day, right? And Vihar was also not comfortable. He has got some cramp. Because of that, he was way down the order that day. I just tried to, because I was listening you doing this analysis on the Glad side today. So I just wanted to address some of those things. Yet we are not able to win any game. We are very hungry about winning the game. And let's see how it goes on Saturday.
Okay.
So, Sathish,
thank you so much.
Sorry, you can hear me, right? I was just saying, Sathish, I think it was only Vihar's spot which I was really worried about, in the sense that I have seen how good a batsman he is.
Yes.
And it takes him some time. So the thing is, I can understand, yes, you're chasing 166, and so you probably felt the need to send some of these hitters out there, but that's okay. But Mayur is a fantastic batsman. I don't think we are you would have ever seen me say anything bad about his batting. I have only said he's technically very sound, you see. So the problem is that he's playing that same, yes, it does take some time for the T-ball skill set to develop, and it's a work in progress. I'm not denying that also. But I agree, he's a very sound batsman. But you saw in the Glads game, he was trying to play something which he is not. And in the process, he trying to accelerate at the 2-down spot, but unable to do it, and that's how his wicket went. But if you just say, hey, you bat your normal this thing, he would have never given that catch. He would have played a straight shot. But
Right.
The scoreboard pressure is building, and he had to try to accelerate, and that's how he lost it. But I wanted to read for both of you guys. Vijay, are you listening? I don't see his face. That's why I was saying. But is Vijay gone? It just says Vijay.
I'm here. Sorry.
No, I think you remember Shankar Melatat. He's watching from Australia. His response was Shanmugam on fire. 4 fire emojis. And then Satish, Shankar also says, hope Satish Shankara is still playing for Dynamites, one of the best on his day. I used to admire his batting a lot. All the best, Vijay and Dynamites. So one person at least is in Vijay and Dynamite's corner. But then again, that's because not anything against Gaba, but he knows Shanmugam from good old days. So, so that's the reason why he's saying all the best to Shanmugam, and he knows this thing. But you want to address some of the points which Sathish, I know, sorry, you were writing down some notes. I want you to address some of the points which Vijay brought up. You were, I mean, you addressed the game analysis, but go ahead. You were writing some responses to his accusations.
I did not write anything. First of all, sorry.
Okay.
I interrupted you. I just wanted to correct him. When I was telling about the Amrit, I specifically mentioned he was part of the KRCC Michigan unit. I never mentioned he's part of the DCL. I just wanted to clarify on his point. I was mentioning that 2-3 times I mentioned, he can see the recording. He was part of our Michigan KRCC team, and he was there from a longest period of time. I think back in 2016 or 17, I have to see what year, but he's playing with us. And he's part of our, means we work together. We have like Ford League. You guys have Ford League, right? Couple of people play Ford League. We have a Tata Consultancies League here. We used to play before the Corona time. So it's not that he is very unknown entity. He is one of very good friend of mine from the longest period of time. So I just wanted to correct nothing else.
All right, let me ask a personal question for Vijay Shanmugam. Are you shaking the hands of any of your former teammates when you see these guys on the field? I put Vijay on the spot. Yeah, go ahead, Vijay.
I mean, off the field, I will, but not on the field.
Okay. Vamsi, you have been very quiet. You don't have any questions for these two guys?
I mean, I'll go to Vijay next, but the first question is to Sathish. Satish, the entire last year you were opening for KRCC, and coming into this tournament, you batted at number 4 in the first game, number 6 in the second game, number 7 in the third game. And you have been going in there after most of the damage is already done. Can we expect to see you up the order?
Yes, not opening. See, I'll tell you one thing. Even from the KRCC side, right, I was not opening for all the game. I think I started opening only after the half of the season. If I'm not wrong, I have to double check that. See, every team, as of now, I'm leading the team, right? And I'm playing this year from long period of time, if I see myself. So in the DCL, middle order is more important than any other order, if you see, right? Second, third down, fourth down is something that wins the game. Batting first or while chasing as well sometimes. So I wanted to take that responsibility for the team at this particular point of time, and certain new addition is there, so that the people will be more comfortable and can play on their own capabilities. So that was my goal, but I know like Glad's game, I was way down the order. And again, I think Pokris, I was 4th. We were chasing 90. I thought if somebody would have given me a good start, we would have definitely finished. I would have definitely finished the game myself itself. Like 20-25 where it was required, I would have got that. But we did not. The idea, see, the problem here is whatever we have thought or I have thought at this point of the time for the batting order, it did not work. That is why a lot of question. If suppose in the Pokris game, if you would have got 40 for 4 and I would have been batting and getting not out and chasing 90, everybody would have been appreciated and talking about this is the right place to play and lead where it is required the most.
It's all about the question is not about you opening, Satish. It's because you are too good a player to play such down the order, and especially when your team needs it. I thought personally that you should have opened and probably led the way so that the rest of the team can follow, and then once you have good starts to the tournament, the rest will slowly fall in place.
I do agree at some extent, but at this point, probably you might not see me opening, but maybe little up in the order you might see me, but not opening. At this point, I did not plan myself as an opener because we have 4 or 5 opener already that we are just figuring out, who can At this point, Amrit is always opening from long period of time. Even from the like hard ball, he was opening. So he's a one opener, and then probably at this point we are trying Anil Bhai how it works out, and that's how it. But at this point, probably I'll disappoint you if you want to see open. Probably I'll disappoint you for the few more games, and I won't be opening for the coming game as well. So that is
That's fine. You have made your point, but let me say this on record. If any of your teammates are listening, if there is one guy who is worthy of opening in that team, it's you.
Thank you, KK. I appreciate your feedback.
And because I've seen you play, but now the question. Now I'll move on to your opponent, captain Vijay. Vijay, this is a straightforward question. And you said after your DCL night, you've had some drinks, you had a party, and then you've got some commitments from the players as well, right, Vijay? That they're going to play for you.
Yep.
So was that a drunk commitment? Was done in full senses? Because never go by a drunk man's promise.
No, not like that. Because I followed up, right? It's not about the party is about more appreciating all the effort they put in, right? Like throughout the whole season, we have families, people, these are the guys who gave commitment every week in and week out. So, I followed up and made sure, okay, we are all aligned, right? Because sometimes, people go to India, we come back and, but I still kept in touch with my team, every week. And I even played a Winter Cup for this team. And they didn't even mention when I played the Winter Cup, right? And then in the I think when they mentioned was in March. When DCL is supposed to happen in May. So I knew about this decision in late February, March. So that's the kind of a thing that if they have told me, I am very happy if people tell me and leave, not tell me in the last minute because I didn't treat them like that. I never treated any player in my team like that. I always listen first. Why is it happening? So that I can improvise as a leader and see what I can do. But when people tell me in the last minute and leave, that means like they don't even they don't treat me the way I treated them. So,
all right, thank you, Vijay.
Yeah.
Because
I had one final question because Parthu already sent out a note saying that guys wind it up. We have last two questions. My final question is to Vijay Shanmugam. Satish, thank you for coming on the show. Appreciated all your honest answers. As always, spot on. But Vijay, my final question is to you. Avinash used to say this. This is our former host, Avinash Raghu from Pokeries. He used to say this. He's an avid Facebook user. I don't follow Facebook. But he used to tell me last year that, or he used to post in our group actually. Vijay is one captain who celebrates all his players' achievements. And I know that last year you guys used to hand out awards for every game, some game changer or dynamite player of the week, and then used to write some things about them in Facebook and things like that. And it all worked great because Dynamites had a fabulous season last year. And you put in all that effort, and I'm sure the money also, which goes into it with getting all these. But more than the money, it's the effort which is involved going and getting these small prizes and, giving out and handing it out and things like that. Now, when you look back, of these players which all went away, which players' departure, not in terms of their talent, all right, but in terms of, man, this guy also left me almost like you too, Brutus, like Julius Caesar said. It's like, which of these 4 players or 5 players or whoever left is the one player which hurt you more than everybody else? Again, remember, we don't ask any easy questions. We ask tough questions. And
so I think from my standpoint, I think I was, Amrit and Prakash, these players come in and go. I really, see because they have their own friend circle. They drink and party. But I was really surprised with Anil and Saurabh left because they were a royalty in Dynamites, and then they left because of Amrit. And Amrit just called him, "Hey, come on, join my party." So so it's more like you know uh, uh, you played for so long, and
Let's narrow it down. Which of those two, between those two guys?
I think
Between
Anil.
Anil Bilmoria. All right.
Yeah.
Because of your work association also?
Yeah, but we are more friends, and we share a lot of things. And I was taken back, and because I supported him all the way whenever he was leading a team or whatever his inputs are, I took it as a positive input and made the team better, and it made the team better. So when he had so much say in the team, leaving the team and playing for somebody who new, and he's just another player in the team, doesn't make sense.
May I suggest to Anil Bilmoria, Anil, yeah, there is some bad feelings, but nothing which can't be bridged. And my own recommendation to all the players and also to Vijay Shanmugam and to the rest of the Dynamites players is let bygones be bygones. Whatever happened, happened. But for sure, when you go there, give it everything, every last ounce, because I'm sure whoever wins gets the bragging rights. That goes without saying. But once the game is over, shake hands and let it all move on, because we all live on this earth only for a small period of time.
That's why I said just on the field. Off the field, I'm not good.
Yep.
We might as well enjoy each other's company. I mean, I used to be a bitter rival of Parthiv Mehta, but if you watch the shows, you will think that we were best buddies for the longest time. You see, so we don't let that affect us, off the field.
Exactly. I think that is well said. I think after all, it's a game. You play hard, enjoy it, and off the field, we are all friends. And almost like a family. Away from family.
And sometimes when you let these raw emotions come out, only good things can happen out of it, in the sense that at least you have a building block. You know what hurt the other person. You know where the other person stands, and then hopefully you can work things out.
Yeah. Thanks, Rob.
But that's pretty much it from my end. Thank you so much, both of you guys, at least from my side, for making it. I already got some feedback saying that this was a terrific interview, which we conducted of both these rivals. And I'm sure this discussion further ignited the desire for many people wanting to tune this game. I know this week, everybody will be watching this game. If they can't come to the game because they are playing a game, I'm sure the people will be clicking on that scorecard. And I hope one of you guys will broadcast the game, at least for my sake. And please send me the link, because I am not good at technical stuff. So when people send me the link, it is so easy. Even in Glads, even though they do it in Facebook and things like that, I ask them to please send me a link. For an old man, that's
I'll try.
easy.
I'll try.
I just have to click. All right, thank you.
Thanks. Thank you, guys. Yeah.
All right. With that good message, and best of luck to both the captains. Thank you again for making this show and sharing your feedback and your views. It was a great show. Looking forward for this week's games, and we'll see every one of you next week as well, with more of this, more of the interesting games, more of the interesting personalities which play in DCL. From everyone here at DCL Primetime, good night and take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.